Welcome, dreamer. You've drifted once more beneath the veil of dreams. Here, in the hush between waking and sleep, my voice is your lantern in the twilight. The world outside grows dim, and all that remains is warmth, breath, and stillness. So take a slow, deep breath in and let the day fall away like ash from a cooling fire. Tonight, a story is a gentle whisper from another time, a tale woven to quiet the heart and cradle the mind. You are safe here, wrapped in calm, and our story begins now. Relax, settle into your space. Let your breath soften, your muscles release, your thoughts drift like autumn leaves on a gentle stream. Tonight I invite you to rest in the quiet warmth of your own inner realm. Let your eyes feel heavy, your limbs languid, your heart soft. In a moment I will draw you gently into a tale carried by whispering winds and flickering embers. Our story today begins at the very edge of a forest, where the trees' silhouettes dance against a moonlit sky, and where a humble smithy sits, glowing warmly in the hush of night. At the forest edge, where the scents of pine and moss linger, there lay a small forge. Its blackened stones held warmth even in the cool breath of night. The wooden doors were slightly ajar, allowing a ribbon of smoke and soft glow to slip out into the dusk. You might imagine yourself stepping closer through the hush of rustling leaves, guided by that gentle light. Inside the forge, a tall, quiet blacksmith worked. His frame was sturdy, though his movements gentle. His hammer rose and fell with slow precision. Sparks leapt, momentary stars against dark space, then drifted down to rest upon the coals, where they shimmered and faded. Now lean in closer in your mind's eye. Feel the warmth on your skin. Hear the whisper of the leather bellows. With each breath the bellows gives, a faint sighing song, echoes soft gusts that seem to carry lullabies. Each puff of air stirs the coals, making them sigh and glow in response. Long ago, folk believed that blacksmiths held secret power. In many realms, the smith was not just craftsman, but protector. The ringing of his hammer was thought to ward off shadow, to bind spirits, to renew strength in steel and in bone. The soft hiss of the bellows was said to coax away evil dreams. In villages at dusk, mothers might say, "Let the blacksmith's fire guard us tonight." In quiet corners, children were told the forging hearth was a sanctuary where sparks drove back darkness. So our blacksmith in that silent forge worked not only metal, but magic of a kind. His calloused hands shaped implements of need, plowshares and nails, yet also small ward's hooks, simple talismans of iron that might hang in doors or beneath eaves, quietly keeping mischief at bay. And as he worked, the bellows breathed beside him, a companion in the cadence. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. You, sitting in your quiet place, might feel that rhythm now. Breathe in slowly, pause, and out. Pause. Let the inhale and exhale match the bellows' song. In pause. Out. Pause longer. Let your body sway gently in that rhythm. Back in the forge, with each puff the coals flicker. The hammer lifts, pauses briefly, then taps. The echo is soft, reverberating through the hearth and beyond. Sparks dance upward, each one a silent firefly, then fade in the ambient glow. Between strikes, silence. Between breaths, the sigh of embers. Between heartbeats, peace. Let me paint a closer picture for you now. The hearth's stones are warm beneath bare feet. The air smells faintly of charcoal, of warmed iron, and a green note of forest pine. Outside, small breezes whisper through branches, carrying leaf song, a gentle rustle that mingles with the sighing fire. Through the open door, you glimpse the moon's pale crescent, silvering the forest floor, dappling paths between trunks. Somewhere beyond, an owl calls softly, a guardian. In the night, its voice stretched across the stillness. With each hammer strike, imagine the world taking shape, metal bending, iron yielding, edges smoothing. The spirit of creation spun in fire and sweat. The blacksmith is the heart of change, and we, in our restful presence, share in that transformation, softening, shaping, melting tension away. Now listen. Inhale the whisper of the bellows, soft wind through leather, warm breath on embers. Exhale into stillness. Inhale the heat, exhale calm. The forest hush deepens. The fire's crackle becomes a lull, rising and falling like waves. The hammer's sound grows more distant, more gentle, fading into a comforting heartbeat. In time, even the bellows slow. The flame settles into a steady glow. The hammer rests. The sparks fall, one by one, like falling stars. The blacksmith wipes his brow, leans back, and gazes into the embers. He senses in the night a gentle peace, a quiet magic held between earth and air. And now you, too, drift between consciousness and dream. Your breathing matches the quiet sigh of the forge. Your heartbeat echoes the still rhythm of the room. Your limbs are weightless, carried by the current of calm. As you float, picture that softly glowing hearth, the magician's fire, the whispered bellows, the echo of hammering passed into silence. You rest, safe and warm, in that tranquil place where shadow has no claim. Rest now. Let this image carry you gently deeper toward sleep. Breathe in and slowly out. Imagine the warmth of the forge wrapping around you like a blanket woven of light. The world outside fades until there is only this gentle glow, the rhythm of coals, the whisper of air, the slow pulse of the bellows. Now let yourself drift deeper into the story. Our tale continues beneath a quilt of stars. The forest sleeps, silvered by moonlight. A soft mist rises between the trees, curling like smoke, tender and translucent. The forge at the edge of that woodland hums quietly, its breath steady, alive. Inside, the blacksmith hums, too. His voice is low, resonant, humming an old tune from the mountains. It's not quite a song, more like a vibration, a tone that seems to join the bellows' sighs and the fire's crackle. If you listen closely, you might sense that the whole room hums along with him. The iron sings when it's struck. The flame answers with a hiss. He works not in haste, but in reverence. Every movement deliberate. The way he lifts the hammer slowly. The way he rests it upon the anvil softly. the way he breathes between each strike deeply. He is not merely shaping iron. He is weaving rhythm and warmth into the night itself. Hush, hear the pattern. Whoosh, the bellows exhale. Tap, the hammer falls. Crackle, the fire responds. Then silence, soft as wool. You can imagine the glow flickering over his hands. The muscles in his forearms flex and relax in slow rhythm. Sweat beads on his brow, catching firelight, glinting like dew. His eyes are calm, focused, his breath steady as tide. Now picture his workbench scattered with fragments of metal, small charms, shaped like leaves and stars. Each one carries meaning. To villagers, these are not mere trinkets. They're blessings forged by ancient belief. There's a charm shaped like a crescent moon, hung by the forge window. It's said to bring dreams unmarred by worry. Another, a small spiral of twisted steel, keeps wanderers safe on foggy roads. And in the corner, there's a bell made of purest iron. When the blacksmith rings it, its tone carries beyond the forge, across the woods, and for miles beyond. Some say the sound can scatter ill spirits. Others believe it calls good fortune, or simply tells the stars that the blacksmith is still awake. Tonight, the bell rests silent, its metal cooled. The only music is the whisper of the bellows and the gentle thrum of breath. Now, let's pause again, and take a breath with him. Inhale, the scent of pine and soot. Exhale, the release of tension. Inhale, the warmth of the fire. Exhale, the quiet peace of the forest. The blacksmith's apprentice, a young boy with tousled hair, lies half asleep in the corner on a straw mat. The glow of the coals paints soft amber across his face. His small chest rises and falls gently. Each sigh seems to echo the bellows, each dream shaped by the rhythm of the forge. The blacksmith looks over and smiles, a faint curve of lips, worn by years but tender. He whispers a few words in the old tongue, words of protection, carried on the hush of air. In that moment, the forge seems to breathe along with them both. There's something deeply human and yet ancient about this quiet sanctuary. The forge is not just a place of work, it's a heart that beats for the village. Its warmth shields those beyond its walls. Its light keeps the wild at bay. And every night when darkness presses close, the blacksmith's fire glows steady like a promise. Outside, the wind brushes through the trees. The leaves murmur. The stars shift slightly, peeking between branches. A fox passes silently, its paws soundless on the leaf-strewn path. It pauses, lifts its head toward the forge, and then continues calm, unafraid. Even the creatures of the wood seem to trust this place. The blacksmith lowers his hammer at last. He sits by the anvil, eyes reflecting ember light, and listens to the breath of the world. The bellows sigh one last time, their air trailing into quiet. The coals glow deep red, like the heart of the earth itself. He leans back, wiping soot from his hands. The night air brushes cool against his skin. Somewhere beyond the forest, a distant stream gurgles softly. The rhythm is eternal water flowing, wind whispering, fire breathing. The three ancient voices of nature, joined here in the small forge by human hands. He closes his eyes. He feels the warmth sink into his bones. He imagines his craft not as labor, but as prayer. Every spark a small blessing, every strike a heartbeat, every breath an offering to peace. You, listening now, might feel that same peace spreading through you, an invisible warmth that begins at your chest, then radiates outward, down your arms, across your shoulders, along your back, into your legs, your feet. The warmth settles like golden dust, soft and serene, and in this calm the world feels simpler. The night feels kind. The forge hums faintly, like a lullaby's last note fading into quiet dream. Soon the blacksmith will bank the coals and rest too. But before he does, he reaches for a small iron feather delicate, shining faintly. He holds it up, watching how it catches the firelight. He whispers something, a wish, perhaps, or a memory. Then he places it by the window, where moonlight touches it gently. Outside, the forest answers with a sigh. The wind through branches, soft and slow. The forge returns to stillness. Only the faint glow remains, a heartbeat of warmth beneath the stars. And now, as the blacksmith drifts toward sleep, so may you. Let your breath become slow, let your body become light. Let the hum of the forge follow you into dream. Breathe softly, let your shoulders sink a little deeper. The air around you feels warm, peaceful, safe. The glow from the forge hasn't faded completely, yet it lingers like the aftertaste of a song, gentle and golden, alive in memory. Our story drifts onward through the folds of night. The blacksmith's forge now lies quiet, but the embers still pulse with life beneath a thin layer of ash. If you look closely, you'd see them breathing tiny glimmers that brighten, then dim, like a heartbeat in slumber. Outside, the forest hums low and steady, and the moon stands watch, half veiled in drifting mist. The blacksmith, his name forgotten by time, has leaned back against the wall of his workshop. His head tilts slightly. His hands rest on his lap, palms open. Sleep gathers around him like a gentle shawl. Each exhale he releases seems to mingle with the sighs of the bellows beside him. 2 steady breaths, harmonizing in rest. The apprentice, curled up in straw, dreams. In his dream he stands at the anvil, small hands holding a hammer too large for him. But it feels light, weightless, as though the forge itself carries it. When he strikes, the sound is not loud or sharp. It's like the tolling of a distant bell beneath the sea. With each echo, silver ripples spread through the air, and sparks float like tiny, glowing petals. The metal before him shapes itself, smooth and gleaming, into something he does not yet understand, a small, perfect circle. He lifts it toward the forge's light, and the fire flickers brighter, as though recognizing its own reflection. Then, through the dream, he hears a voice not loud, not commanding, but soft and clear as a whisper carried on wind. Every flame remembers its spark, it says. Every ember is born of breath. The boy's dreamed self looks around, searching, but there's no one there, only the bellows moving slowly on their own. their folds breathing in, then out. And for a moment the child feels certain the forge itself is alive. He smiles. Outside the walls of that humble workshop, unseen by human eyes, the night is woven with unseen forces, threads of air and flicker and memory. In the old tales it said that spirits of creation lived near places of craft. They were gentle, luminous beings of smoke and spark, guardians of human hands that shaped beauty from raw earth. Sometimes, if one worked long enough by firelight, one might see them, the faint shimmer of forms like mist, eyes like molten metal, laughter like crackling embers. They never spoke in words, only in warmth, in rhythm and feeling. And on this night they have gathered. The forge breathes with more than air. It breathes with presence. A faint hum builds in the stillness, soft but layered, like 1,000 sighs blending into one. The embers pulse brighter, then dim again. A faint spiral of glowing dust rises, swirling lazily toward the rafters. The spirits are watching. They drift near the blacksmith, their movement slow and reverent. One leans close, touching the iron feather by the window. Another brushes the apprentice's hair, leaving a faint shimmer like starlight behind. They seem drawn not to the tools, but to the peace that fills the space, the quiet love woven into every breath of that little forge. One of the spirits, a shape of golden smoke, bends low over the coals. Its hand, or what passes for one, moves above the embers in a circling motion, and the fire answers. A single small flame blooms upward, steady and calm, neither wild nor consuming. The blacksmith stirs but does not wake. He murmurs in his sleep, as though answering a question whispered by the night. The flame dances once more, then folds into itself, glowing only faintly now, but with a warmth that feels endless. And outside, the forest leans closer. The wind moves through the trees with the gentleness of breath through silk. The leaves shiver not with cold, but in song. The brook beyond the forge catches moonlight in its ripples. Even the owls are silent now, as if the whole woodland listens to that soft, unseen lullaby. You, too, can listen now, listen to the air as it moves, to the tiny clicks of cooling iron, to the sighs of bellows settling into stillness, to your own heartbeat, slow and sure. Each sound melts into the next, forming one continuous whisper, a reminder that you, too, are part of this rhythm, that all life, from ember to breeze to dream, breathes in unison when the world grows still enough. Now picture this scene in your mind, the forge glowing faintly, the blacksmith asleep in his chair, the boy dreaming beside him, the spirits keeping silent watch, the air shimmering faintly, as though time itself is holding its breath. And somewhere, deep in that forge's heart, the iron feather begins to hum, so softly at first that even the spirits pause to listen. Its song is a vibration, a low and steady tone, spreading outward in waves through the floor, into the earth, into the roots of the forest trees. The sound travels far, carried by soil and stone, until even distant hills echo faintly with its resonance. The whole night world seems to respond, shifting imperceptibly toward harmony. The feather's song is the sound of renewal, of rest after labor, of peace after flame. It hums a balance of stillness, of breath. The spirits bow, fading one by one, their forms dissolving into the very air. The last among them lingers, gazing at the sleeping blacksmith, then fades with a final flicker of ember light. Silence falls again, vast but tender. The forge breathes once more, only once, and is still. You, listening here, are now part of this same silence. The warmth you imagined has settled inside you, a soft glow in your chest. Your heartbeat matches the rhythm of the sleeping forge. Every breath you take is an echo of the bellows. Every exhale a quiet blessing of your own making. And every moment of stillness is a small sanctuary where peace resides. The forge may sleep, but its warmth continues within you, within the dream, within the endless hum of the night. So rest now. Let the sound of your breathing become the song of the fire's last sigh. Let the edges of thought blur and soften. Let your body float weightless in this still air. Let the whispering bellows sing you gently toward sleep. Take a slow, deep breath in, and now let it go, gently. Feel your body settle deeper into the quiet, as though gravity itself has softened, holding you, not pressing you. The forge sleeps now. But dreams, even those of flame and metal, are never truly still. Somewhere beneath the cooled ash, a faint glimmer stirs, a hidden ember that has not yet surrendered to night. It glows, dim but alive, the last heartbeat of the day. Outside, the moon is higher now, pale and round above the dark forest canopy. Its light pools across the forge's stone threshold, spilling softly onto the floor where dust motes drift like sleeping fireflies. The silence has become its own kind of music, rhythmic, layered, eternal. And in that stillness, something moves. A breeze, gentle as the sigh of a dreamer. It slips through the open window, brushing the iron feather that hangs by its thread. The feather sways, and once more it hums a note so soft, so pure, it feels like it might dissolve the moment you hear it. Yet it lingers, rippling across the forge like a breath of light. The blacksmith stirs, not waking, just drifting between sleep and wakefulness. That tender place where thoughts become shapes and memories become air. His eyelids flutter. His lips part slightly. And in his half-dream he finds himself standing at his anvil again. But everything around him is brighter, almost luminous. The forge is vast now, its walls shimmering like molten glass. The air is alive with drifting sparks that move not downward, but upward, like golden snow. Before him lies no ordinary piece of iron, but something vast, curved, and radiant. When he looks closer, he realizes it is a mirror of metal, perfectly smooth, reflecting not his own image, but the face of the moon itself. He feels no surprise, only peace. The moonlight ripples across the surface, as if the mirror is made of liquid silver. Each time the blacksmith breathes, the reflection seems to pulse with him, like the tide moving with the pull of breath. He raises his hammer not to strike, but to guide, and with each movement the moonlight bends, folding itself into shape, becoming softer, rounder, more alive. Then he hears the whisper again, the same voice from the night before, the voice of wind, of spirit, of something older than flame. Every spark is a promise, it says. Every hand that shapes also heals. The blacksmith nods in his dream, his heart calm. He feels a gentle warmth spread from his chest to his fingertips. The hammer glows faintly in his hand, not with firelight, but with something subtler, the glow of memory, of purpose. He places the hammer down and gazes at the mirror once more. In its reflection, he sees not only the moon, but the faces of those who came to his forge over the years, the weary travelers, the widows, the farmers, the children who brought trinkets to mend. Each face glimmers briefly, smiling, before dissolving into light. The blacksmith realizes something. His craft was never just about metal. It was about the invisible thread between himself and others, the quiet kindness that lingers in every act of care, the warmth that survives long after the fire is gone. And then, in the dream, he looks down and sees his apprentice standing beside him. The boy's eyes are wide with wonder, his small hands clutching a tiny piece of glowing iron. "What do I make with this?" the boy asks. The blacksmith kneels. His voice is soft, a whisper in the wind. "You make what your heart remembers," he says. "For iron remembers warmth, as we remember love." The boy looks at the metal in his hands. It flickers faintly like a newborn star, and together they breathe slowly in rhythm. The forge responds. The air shimmers. The moonlight grows brighter. Then everything folds softly inward like the tide pulling back to sea, and the blacksmith feels himself falling gently through air, as though the world has turned to water. He exhales. The sound of the bellows joins him. And once again the dream becomes night. The blacksmith wakes just before dawn. The horizon outside is pale blue, streaked with pink. Birds are beginning to stir in the trees. The forge is cool now, but the air still holds a faint warmth. He opens his eyes fully, realizing that he's been smiling in his sleep. His apprentice is still curled up on the straw, a faint glow from the coals painting his cheeks. The blacksmith watches him for a long moment, then quietly stands. He moves to the anvil where the hammer still rests. For a moment, he just places his palm against its head, feeling the metal's chill. Then he glances toward the window. The iron feather still hangs there, motionless, though a single glint of sunrise catches its edge, turning it gold. Something stirs in him, a thought, a memory, a wordless knowing. He lights the forge again, but not to work, not to shape, only to warm. He pumps the bellows once, gently. The forge exhales. Then again, the coals awaken, glowing faintly orange. And once more, the flames rise. The whispering begins anew. The sound of the bellows fills the room, not as labor, but as song. Each breath a note, each exhale a sigh. The fire grows brighter, and the blacksmith feels peace settle over him once more. He looks toward the forest, still wrapped in morning mist. Somewhere out there life is stirring, the rustle of deer, the flutter of sparrows, the gentle trickle of the brook. The world awakens, and the forge, too, breathes again. He takes a deep breath, letting it fill his chest. The smell of smoke and dawn mingles in the air. He closes his eyes and whispers, "Thank you for the breath." The bellows answer, as though the forge itself breathes back, "You are welcome." And the rhythm begins once more, a slow, endless lullaby of the whispering forge. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Let it carry you too, your body lighter, your thoughts slower. Your breath as soft as morning air. The whispering bellows are not just the blacksmith's, they're yours now too. Each rise and fall of your breath is their song, each sigh a flame that keeps your dreams aglow. So rest here in this peace. Feel the warmth stay with you. Let your breath shape the silence around you, and drift deeper into stillness. Take another deep breath in, hold it gently at the top, and release, letting your entire body soften into ease. The warmth of the forge still lingers in your chest, glowing faintly, like the last ember before sunrise. Now, let's step back into the story. By the time dawn fully rises, the forest is wrapped in mist the color of milk and silver. The blacksmith's forge stands quiet beneath the early light, and the air carries a scent both earthy and metallic, a perfume of dew and iron and old wood. The blacksmith moves slowly, each motion deliberate. He wipes down his anvil with a coarse cloth, though there is little soot left upon it. It's a ritual, more than a task. Each stroke of his hand is a greeting to the new day. His apprentice wakes, blinking through the haze of half-sleep. For a moment, he isn't sure where he is. The dream still clings to him, threads of moonlight and glowing metal fading from his thoughts. He sits up, rubbing his eyes, and the first thing he sees is his master smiling quietly from across the forge. "Good morning, little Ember," the blacksmith says softly. The boy grins sleepily. "Did I sleep through the night?" "You did," the blacksmith replies, "and you dreamed deeply." The boy nods slowly, remembering fragments, the whispering fire, the glowing circle, the voice that spoke in wind. But he doesn't know if he should mention them. Some dreams, he feels, are meant to be carried in silence. Outside, the forest begins to glitter as sunlight pierces through the mist. Each drop of dew becomes a tiny crystal, shimmering for a brief, miraculous moment before melting back into earth. The blacksmith steps outside, wiping his hands on his leather apron. He stands at the edge of the clearing, breathing in the fresh air. The forest is alive with sound now, birdsong, the rustle of squirrels, the trickle of the nearby brook. He listens. Every morning, before any hammer is lifted or any fire is stoked, he listens. The old stories say that the forest speaks at dawn, that its sighs and murmurs tell the day's mood, and that those who work with fire should always greet the world of wood and leaf with humility. He closes his eyes. The bellows behind him release one final soft huff, as though exhaling with him. He whispers into the morning, "I thank the breath, and the breath thanks me." And in the hush that follows, the leaves seem to answer, rustling in agreement. The apprentice joins him, still barefoot, the ground cool beneath his feet. He tilts his head back, watching sunlight sift through the branches. "Master," he says quietly, "why does the fire whisper when you breathe?" The blacksmith turns toward the forge. The question is innocent, yet profound. He steps closer, placing a hand on the bellows, his fingers tracing the warm leather folds. "Because," he says at last, "fire listens." He looks down at the boy, eyes gleaming like iron in sunlight. "When we breathe, the fire hears us. It takes our breath and turns it into warmth. That's why we must always breathe gently when we tend it. Fire is a child. It grows wild when fed too much, and fades when starved. The bellows teach it how to breathe again." The boy nods slowly, eyes full of wonder. "So, the forge breathes with us?" The blacksmith smiles. "It always has." He guides the boy's hand to the bellows, placing it gently over the leather. "Now breathe with it," he whispers. The boy inhales slowly. The bellows expand, filling with air. Then he exhales, and the bellows sigh, sending a soft gust into the coals. A faint shimmer of orange appears among the ashes. Again, inhale, exhale. The coals awaken, breathing in time with the boy. Tiny sparks flicker, light returning to life. "Good," the blacksmith says softly. "You see now? Even in stillness, the breath is never lost." He steps back, watching his apprentice with quiet pride. The boy's expression glows, part concentration, part awe, as the forge comes alive beneath his touch. The rhythmic sound of air and ember fills the room again. The bellows whisper, the flame responds, and the forge hums its old, patient tune. The blacksmith turns toward the open door. Beyond it, the world brightens, bathed in pale gold. The sound of a distant church bell drifts through the trees, a call to morning prayers, though here, in this forge at the forest's edge, a different kind of prayer has already begun. The blacksmith bows his head slightly. His lips move, but no sound escapes. It is a wordless gratitude, an unspoken offering to the world, to breath, to craft. Then, slowly, he returns to the anvil. He places a fresh bar of iron upon it, lifts his hammer, and begins again. The sound of his work rises like music. Each strike is measured, gentle, as though he's tapping the very rhythm of the forest itself. Tap, tap, hush. The sound flows like a heartbeat, and as he works, the air in the forge feels alive, not hot, but vibrant. Each spark drifts lazily upward, not bursting, but floating soft, silent, almost dreamlike. The boy watches, mesmerized. The hammer seems to move on its own, guided by something unseen. "What are you making, master?" he asks quietly. The blacksmith doesn't answer right away. He just smiles and keeps working. At last, he says, something that sings. Hours pass in that golden rhythm. The forest breathes, the forge breathes, and time itself seems to sway in the same slow cadence. When the blacksmith finally stops, what lies on the anvil is unlike anything the boy has ever seen. It's a small wind chime delicate, brought from iron so thin it looks almost silver. The chime has 3 hanging tongues shaped like leaves, and at its center, a tiny spiral. The blacksmith holds it up to the light. For a moment, the sun catches on the metal, and the room fills with a faint shimmer. He walks outside, hangs the chime on a low branch near the forge door, and steps back. For a long moment, nothing happens. Then a breeze stirs. The leaves shift, and the chime gives its first whisper, a low, liquid tone, gentle as the first sigh of evening. The sound spreads softly through the clearing, wrapping around the forge, through the trees, into the spaces between shadows. The boy closes his eyes, smiling. "It sounds like the bellows," he whispers. The blacksmith nods. It is the bellows' song, carried on the wind. He looks to the horizon, where sunlight spills across the forest floor, and his voice drops to a murmur, so that even when the forge is silent, the breath continues. Now let your own breath become that chime. Slow, gentle, inhale the warmth. Exhale the sound. Feel your heartbeat fall into the same rhythm as the forest, the same stillness as the forge. Each breath you take now is a blessing from the bellows, a whisper of the old smith's fire, a song of peace carried through time. And as the chime sings softly in the morning air, so too do you drift, lighter, softer, into calm. The forge hums low, steady as a heartbeat. The bellows move again, slow and rhythmic, like lungs breathing for the fire itself. Each breath seems to whisper a gentle hum, a murmur from the world's ancient heart. Outside, the forest leans closer to listen. The branches sway with reverence, their leaves shivering softly, as though the blacksmith's song of fire and metal has reached them in dreams. Inside, the air glows like amber honey. Shadows stretch long, dancing along the wooden beams, curling around the tools, hammers, tongs, chisels, all resting, all witnesses to the day's final work. The blacksmith's name, though seldom spoken aloud, is Eldrick, a man with quiet eyes like storm clouds before rain. He does not speak much. The rhythm of his hammer is his language. Yet those who know him say he listens more than he works, listens to the hiss of the forge, to the sighs of the wind, to the whisper of every iron bar before it takes form. Some say he can hear what the metal wants to become. He wipes his hands on a leather apron, gaze drifting toward the open door. The moon has risen high, its light silvering the forest path. Beyond that doorway the night hums faintly, an orchestra of unseen life. Crickets sing. An owl glides silently above the treetops. The distant river murmurs its endless lullaby. The bellows sigh again, a slow exhale that fills the forge with breath. The coals glow brighter, red deepening into gold. Eldrick lifts a small piece of iron from the embers. It shines like molten dawn. He holds it gently in his tongs, turning it, listening. The hiss of the metal seems almost alive, whispering stories of its time buried beneath earth and stone, stories of pressure, patience, and change. He lays it upon the anvil and begins to shape it. Not with force, but care. The sound is soft, steady, like rain on the roof of an old cottage. Tap, pause, tap. Each strike releases a faint shimmer of light. tiny sparks that float upward and fade, joining the halo of smoke above. Each one feels like a thought released, a tension unwound. The rhythm continues. As you listen, you might feel that rhythm sinking into your body, a pulse within your breath. With every strike, something inside you relaxes a little more. With every spark, a thought you no longer need drifts away. Now, breathe slowly. In through your nose, out through your mouth. Inhale warmth, exhale weight. Let your mind become the forge quiet, glowing, full of gentle transformation. Eldritch forges not weapons, but charms. Small, graceful shapes, spirals, rings, talismans. One piece tonight is special. A bell, small enough to fit in his palm, shaped with patience. In his village they call such pieces winged bells of solace. Hung above a doorway, it was said to carry away bad dreams, to sing gently when touched by passing air. He raises it now, letting the light dance across its surface. Even before it cools, the faintest tone escapes pure, soft, as if a whisper had turned into sound. The blacksmith smiles, the corner of his mouth lifting in quiet satisfaction. The bellows exhale once more, a lull of breath and warmth. Then stillness. Eldrick places the bell aside to cool and sits by the forge, his eyes fixed on the embers. Their glow flickers across his face, tracing lines of kindness, patience, and a life lived close to the elements. He closes his eyes and listens. To the forest sighing beyond the walls, to the hush of air over metal, to the memory of the hammer's echo fading into night. He hums a low, tuneless hum, more vibration than melody. It fills the room like smoke, curling around every quiet corner. Some say this is when the true magic happens, not in the striking, but in the silence that follows. For in that silence the forge itself begins to whisper back. You can almost hear it now, can't you? That soft murmur of the fire? Like the ocean deep in slumber. The coals crackle gently, each pop and sigh like the breath of an old friend. The sound blends with your own breathing slow, serene, steady. Outside, the wind brushes against the doorframe. The bellows shift faintly, giving one last exhale, as if sighing a good night. Eldrick watches the bell cool. Its metal darkens, its song softens. When he finally lifts it, he smiles again, holding it near his ear. A single, quiet chime rings out a sound so gentle it could be mistaken for a dream. That tone floats through the forge, past the doorway, and into the forest. Through the trees it drifts, carried by the wind. Animals pause in their burrows, listening. The night air feels softer, the stars brighter, the leaves calmer. And you, listening now, may feel a similar calm drift through you. The bell's tone seems to vibrate gently in your chest, easing every worry, loosening every hidden knot. You feel it melting the day away, the fire dimming, the air cooling, the world slowing, just peace. Only the blacksmith's whispering bellows, breathing softly in the distance, like the pulse of the earth itself. The night deepens around the forge, an indigo hush that feels infinite, cradling both the forest and the gentle glow of the smithy's heart. The moon rises higher, bathing the trees in silver light, and the stars above shimmer as though listening to the faint hum of iron and ember. Eldrick sets the cooled bell upon a wooden shelf lined with other trinket strings, clasps, charms, and wind bells that have all sung their first song by his hand. Some are meant for travelers who pass through, others for the villagers who come seeking protection, luck, or simply comfort. He leans back on his stool, feeling the wood creak beneath him. The warmth of the forge lingers against his skin. His hands, rough from years of work, rest open upon his knees. For a long moment, he simply breathes, letting the silence of the night fill him. In that silence, the world feels weightless. Even the forest seems to sleep. The bellows move again, softly. No one touches them, yet they sigh as if stirred by a dreaming spirit. The sound is so tender it could be mistaken for a whisper from the wind long and low, carrying the rhythm of breath itself. Inhale, exhale. Eldrick listens, his eyelids growing heavy. He remembers his teacher's words long ago in another forge. Every breath you give to the fire gives back. Every spark you make, it remembers your heart. He never forgot that. To him, forging was never about force. It was about communion. A conversation between metal and man, between flame and air, between what is born and what must be transformed. He rises now, slow and steady, and takes a small piece of parchment from the wall. On it are names, drawn in his own handwriting, people he has forged charms for. Travelers, farmers, mothers, and children. Each name represents a bond, a shared fragment of warmth. He adds one more tonight, just a small mark beneath the others. Then, setting down the charcoal, he murmurs a few words beneath his breath. May this night bring them peace. As he speaks, the embers flicker as if in gentle reply. You can almost see it, can't you? The faint dance of light against the old stone hearth. The way smoke coils upward, soft as mist, carrying with it the faint scent of pine resin and heated metal. It's a smell that speaks of earth and sky, of warmth and work, of stories whispered through generations. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine sitting there too. The bench beneath you smooth from years of use. The forge's glow a few steps away. The sound of the bellows, the steady rhythm of air and flame. It feels like the world has slowed down, like every breath has stretched longer, deeper, calmer. Outside, the wind stirs again. The leaves ripple softly, creating a sound like distant waves. And if you listen closely, you might hear the faintest chime one of Eldrick's bells catching the night air. Its song drifts through the open door, delicate and silver, a lullaby for the forest. The blacksmith steps out into the night. The air is cool now, brushing against his warm skin. He looks up at the stars, thousands of them, scattered like sparks across the sky. Their light seems to hum, faint and ancient, echoing the forge's rhythm. He feels a deep quiet inside him, a stillness that only comes after a long day's creation. He knows he will sleep soon, but for now he stands there watching, listening. Sometimes when the world is silent enough, The wind carries whispers through the trees, old stories perhaps, or echoes of songs long forgotten. Tonight, those whispers seem clearer. They weave around Eldrick, soft and melodic. They speak of old myths that smiths were once guardians between the seen and the unseen, that every forge was a threshold, a place where the spirit world brushed close to the human. It was said that when a blacksmith shaped metal under moonlight, each spark that flew upward became a star reborn. Eldrick smiles faintly. He does not know if such tales are true, but he feels them. In the hush of the forest, under the soft silver glow, it is easy to believe. He walks to the doorway, rests a hand on the frame, and looks once more at his forge. The coals glow faintly now, no longer fierce, just a gentle warmth, like a heartbeat fading into sleep. Rest now, he murmurs, as if speaking to the fire itself. The bellows sigh and reply one final exhale, long and soft. The glow deepens, pulsing gently, before settling into stillness. Eldrick steps back inside and lowers the iron gate that guards the hearth. The sound of metal sliding into place echoes faintly, then disappears into the quiet. He hangs his apron on its hook, his movements slow, deliberate, peaceful. Before he leaves, he lifts the little bell he made that night and holds it to his chest. Its surface is cool now, smooth, perfectly round. He gives it a light tap with his fingertip. The sound it makes is pure, a tone that feels like moonlight turned into sound. And as that tone fades into the air, something remarkable happens. The forest outside falls utterly still. No breeze, no rustle, just that lingering sound. And when it finally disappears, what remains is a silence so deep it feels sacred, the kind of silence that holds sleep within it, the kind that seeps into your bones and whispers, "Rest now, you are safe." Eldrick places the bell back on the shelf. Then, with one last look toward the hearth, he extinguishes the lanterns, leaving only the faintest shimmer of moonlight across the floor. He lies down upon his cot near the forge. The smell of ash and wood fills the air, comforting as a blanket. Outside, the night begins to breathe again, soft wind, gentle leaves, distant owls. The rhythm returns. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. You can feel that rhythm within you now. The same rhythm as the bellows, as the wind, as the sleeping forge. Inhale, calm. Exhale, release. The story hums softly around you, as if the fire's warmth were wrapping you in quiet arms. Sleep is near, very near. The night drapes itself fully around the forge now, soft as a velvet cloak. Outside, mist gathers along the forest floor, curling through ferns and roots, gliding like breath across the earth. The stars shimmer faintly through the haze, their light diffused, gentle, dreamlike. The world feels distant and hushed, as though time itself has slowed to listen to the steady pulse of the blacksmith's resting forge. Inside, Eldrick sleeps. His cot is simple a frame of oak, a blanket of woven wool, rough but warm. His chest rises and falls in a slow, even rhythm. Each breath he takes seems to harmonize with the faintest whisper of the bellows, which, though untouched, move ever so slightly, as if exhaling in sync with him. It is said that when a blacksmith sleeps beside his forge, the fire dreams with him. The embers hold memory. The coals hum lullabies of their own. Tonight, those dreams drift between worlds. Listen, can you hear the faint crackle, the smallest sigh of heat within the ashes? It's almost like hearing the forge breathe a story of its own. In Eldrick's dream, he stands once more beside the anvil, yet everything glows differently now. The forge blazes not with fire, but with light soft, golden, radiant as dawn. The air is filled with the slow dance of motes, shimmering like dust caught in sunlight. From the light steps a figure not human, not quite spirit. She is slender, her form wavering like heat above coals. Her eyes gleam the color of iron before it cools. When she speaks, her voice sounds like air moving through the bellows, gentle, rhythmic, warm. Eldrick, she murmurs, you have forged with heart, not with force. You have listened to the metal, and it has listened back. He lowers his hammer, bowing his head slightly. Who are you? I am the breath between the strike, she replies, the whisper between flame and wind. I am what your kind calls the spirit of the forge. The dream fire flickers in her hair, and her outline blurs into glowing threads of smoke and light. Eldrick stands silently, feeling a warmth deeper than heat, a warmth that touches his soul. Every spark you have sent into the night, she continues, has become a light upon the path of someone lost. The iron you shape carries whispers of peace. Do you know, Blacksmith, how many have slept easier because of your work? He shakes his head slowly. I never thought of it that way. Then rest, for you are keeper of quiet miracles. The forge remembers every kindness given through your hands. She lifts her palm. In it, a single spark glows brighter than all the rest. When this spark fades, you will wake, but its warmth will remain within you, and in the wind bell you made tonight. It will carry songs of rest wherever it hangs. Eldrick reaches out. The spark touches his fingers and vanishes. The world around him ripples like water touched by a falling leaf. The light dims. The figure dissolves into ember and ash. The forge sighs. And then he wakes. He blinks slowly. Dawn has not yet come, but the faintest pale blue seeps into the horizon. The forest outside hums softly with the first hints of morning life. Tiny chirps, rustles, the stir of awakening wings. The forge is cold now, yet something in the air feels warm. Not heat, more like peace, a living stillness. Eldrick rises quietly, wraps his cloak around his shoulders, and approaches the shelf. The little bell he forged gleams faintly, catching the light of the fading moon. He reaches for it, and when his fingers brush its side, a tiny sound rings out. Not the sharp note of new metal, but a soft chime, rounded and sweet. The kind of sound one might hear in a dream just before waking. He smiles, not the weary smile of labor, but the serene one of someone who knows he has touched something eternal. Outside, he steps into the cool air. Mist brushes against his boots. The trees tower above. their branches silhouetted against the paling sky. He walks to the edge of his forge's clearing, to the old birch tree that leans toward the east. There he ties a thin strand of twine to a low branch and hangs the bell. It sways gently, barely moving, yet its tone rings out once more soft and clear. The sound carries through the forest, mingling with bird song, with the trickle of a distant brook, with the sighing of wind through pine. It is the song of rest, of letting go, of peace renewed with every dawn. And as it rings, something wondrous happens. The mist itself seems to shimmer in time with the sound. The light through the branches flickers like flame. For a heartbeat, the entire forest seems to breathe as one earth, air, and soul. Eldrick closes his eyes. The bell's tone lingers, dissolving slowly into silence. He feels it vibrate within his chest, faint but steady, as though the forge's spirit still breathes through him. He whispers softly, almost to himself, "Let the world rest easy." Then, with a gentle smile, he turns back toward his forge. Inside, the coals are gray now, their light faded. But in the quiet corners of the room, the warmth still lives a hush that feels sacred. He begins his morning routine, but everything is slower, more mindful. Each movement feels like part of a sacred ritual. The folding of the blanket, the stoking of faint embers, the washing of hands in cool water. He hums under his breath a tune so soft it could be mistaken for the wind. Outside, the first ray of sun slips through the trees, landing on the small bell hanging from the birch. It gleams once more, and the faintest chime drifts through the air like a whisper carried on dawn's breath. You might imagine standing there yourself at the edge of that clearing, the warmth of the first sunlight touching your skin, the faint smell of smoke and dew mingling, the distant sound of birds greeting the day, and that little bell, its tone gliding gently through the morning air, seems to hum not just to the forest, but to your very soul. Each chime a reminder, you are safe, you are home, you can rest. Breathe in the light, breathe out the weight. Let that sound guide you deeper, into stillness, into softness. Feel it resonate inside your chest, settling the heart, calming the mind. For even now, as you listen, the blacksmith's forge hums quietly across time, a place where warmth never fades, where whispers of the bellows still carry lullabies through the air. And somewhere, far beyond dream or waking, the spirit of the forge breathes beside you, reminding you that creation and rest are one and the same, that you, too, are made of both spark and silence, that you, too, are part of the whispering bellows. Dawn unfurls slowly over the forest, spilling its gold across dew-tipped leaves and the roof of the forge. A pale mist still clings to the earth, but it begins to lift, curling into ribbons that drift toward the sun. The world awakens in a hush, the kind of morning that feels like a held breath. Eldrick stands at the doorway, leaning against a frame of rough-hewn oak. His eyes are still touched by sleep, but calm sits on his face like the first light. He watches the forest breathe itself awake, a squirrel tracing a branch, A bird shaking raindrops from its wings, a spider web shining with beads of morning. The bell he hung sways gently from the birch, its tone faint, crystalline, drifting between moments of silence. Each chime feels like a sigh turned into sound. He closes his eyes and listens to the bell, to the wind, to the faint hiss of the rekindled coals within the forge. Each sound merges into one slow rhythm, the same rhythm that has followed him through his life. It's the rhythm of making, of breathing, of being. When he was young, the world had been all noise, clanging hammers, shouted orders, the endless rush of work. But as he grew older, he learned the secret every true blacksmith discovers. Silence is not the absence of sound, but the space that lets meaning be heard. He lets the morning wash through him. The warmth of the sun seeps into his skin. The soft air fills his lungs. He breathes slowly, deeply, until even the faint tension in his shoulders melts away. Now you too can take that breath with him. Inhale the calm of the forest. Exhale the heaviness of thought. Inhale the new light of morning. Exhale the remnants of yesterday. Let each breath settle you deeper, like warm earth holding a seed. Eldrick moves to his work table. The light spills across the wooden surface, revealing tiny flecks of iron dust that glimmer like stars. He runs a finger through them, tracing invisible constellations. Every spark a story, he murmurs. He begins to clean his tools, each motion unhurried. The sound of cloth on metal is steady and soothing. He hums under his breath again, the same wordless tune from the night before. It rolls like a river current low, even and ancient. As he works, he notices something small and new. In the corner near the forge, where the ashes lie cool and gray, a single ember glows faintly. It pulses, not with fire, but with light like the spark from his dream, golden, soft, alive. He crouches near it, eyes gentle. The glow is weak, flickering as if shy, but it does not fade. Eldrick doesn't touch it. Instead, he folds his hands and bows his head slightly, as though greeting an old friend. "Ah," he whispers, "so you remained." The ember brightens just for a moment before settling back into its steady rhythm. Outside, the bell rings again, perfectly in time with that pulse. The two sounds chime and glow, seem to call to each other, weaving a song too soft for the waking world to hear. You can imagine that sound now, the faint hum of the ember, the silver tone of the bell, together forming a lullaby of warmth and light. Close your eyes for a moment. Picture yourself in that forge. The air is cool, but the warmth from the coals touches your skin like a quiet heartbeat. The smell of ash and wood lingers sweetly in your breath. The forest hums softly outside, and you, too, begin to feel that same inner rhythm, gentle, even, timeless. Inhale, exhale, the blacksmith's breath, the world's breath, your breath. Time moves differently here. Hours are not counted by the sun, but by the slow cadence of sound and silence. Eldrick finishes tidying his tools and steps outside once more. He carries a small wooden cup, filled with clear water from the well. He kneels before the birch and sprinkles a few drops upon its roots. The gesture is quiet, but deliberate. For the roots, he whispers, that hold the earth's patience. Then he lifts his face toward the rising sun and pours the last of the water into the air, letting it fall in a fine mist. The droplets shimmer briefly before they vanish into light. And for the air, he says softly, that carries every whisper. The bell sways once more, as if answering. He stands for a while, feeling the warmth soak into him. His breath deepens, his shoulders sink. The calm that filled the forge now extends to the forest, to the trees, to the soil beneath his feet. The world feels whole again, and somewhere deep within that stillness, a faint truth hums through everything, that every act of creation, every spark, every breath, every whispered sound becomes part of the great sleeping rhythm of the earth. Perhaps you can feel it, too. The hum beneath your heartbeat, the warmth beneath your skin, the quiet within your thoughts, all of it one vast forge breathing softly, endlessly shaping you in its warmth. Let that realization rest with you. Let it cradle you like the coals cradle their light. You don't need to do anything. Just breathe and listen. In the distance, morning begins to unfold fully now, birds rising into the air, the forest filling with color and motion. But inside the clearing, time remains gentle, slow, suspended. Eldrick turns toward the sound of the forest path. Soon he knows. Travelers will come, those who seek charms for courage, or bells for sleep, or small iron hearts for love. He will greet them with that quiet, knowing smile and forge what they need with hands that move like prayer. For now, though, he lingers. The blacksmith's whispering bellows stand motionless beside the cold forge, yet the air around them still carries that rhythm, slow, soothing, eternal. Inhale, exhale. The forge sleeps, but its breath remains, and so too does yours. The warmth around you softens, like twilight returning in reverse. Each sound fades, birds, wind, chime, until only the faint hush of the world remains. If your eyes grow heavy now, that is all right. If your thoughts drift into quiet dreams, that is right, too. You are part of this forge made of its peace, its patience, its gentle fire. Rest here in the blacksmith's breath. Let the whispering bellows carry you deeper. Let sleep shape you softly as the hammer shapes the glowing steel. You are safe. You are home. You are resting in the song of the forge. The night folds itself gently around the forge, like a thick woolen cloak drawn close against the cool of midnight. The stars above are clearer now, brighter, as though listening to the steady rhythm of the hammer and the breath of the bellows below. The forge's glow pulses in time with the heart of the earth bright, dim, bright again, casting warmth against the blacksmith's weathered face. You can almost feel the heat radiating outward, soft waves of energy kissing your skin, then retreating, then returning, like a quiet tide. The air smells faintly of iron, pine resin, and damp moss, a mixture that anchors you in this tranquil moment. The blacksmith, an old man with strong, slow movements, wipes his brow and smiles. He is not working for gold, nor fame, nor even for the tools he makes. He is shaping something unseen, something that hums quietly beneath each strike. He listens. When his hammer meets the glowing iron, the sound rings not as metal on metal, but as a tone, a soft, clear note that seems to echo within your chest. Ting, 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 the rhythm begins to slow now, and as it does, the rest of the world seems to follow its lead. The forest's breeze softens, the crickets hush. Even the stars seem to shimmer more slowly. Let your breathing fall into the same rhythm, in and out. A breath like the sighing of the bellows in and out. Good. You can feel yourself beginning to drift, just as the smoke drifts upward through the rafters, winding into the night sky, carrying whispers of warmth into the cold. The blacksmith's apprentice sits near the fire, half drowsing, his head nodding to the lullaby of the forge. The master watches him fondly, saying nothing, only turning the iron once more, shaping it carefully, reverently. Then the bellows sigh again, and again, each breath longer, slower, deeper. It's said that each spark born from the forge carries a wish, a fragment of light torn from the stars themselves. They leap upward tiny comets of gold and disappear, leaving behind a shimmer that lingers on your closed eyelids when you blink. You may imagine one of those sparks, now one, that floats toward you, weightless and warm. It drifts close to your chest, then gently melts into you, leaving behind a quiet hum, a memory of warmth, a promise of peace. That spark feels like understanding, like belonging, like rest. Outside, a night bird calls once, soft and far away. The call fades and silence flows back, and like a tide, the forge's flame flickers lower, the metal cools, and the hammer stills. The blacksmith leans back, his hands resting upon his knees. His eyes glimmer faintly in the amber light as he whispers to no one in particular, and to everything at once, "May the fire never fade in the hearts of those who listen." His words hang in the air, wrapping around the night like smoke. And then only the sound of the bellows remains, slow, deep, whispering of dreams yet to come, of fires that never burn too hot, of hearts that never grow too cold. The forest exhales, the forge sleeps, and so, too, do you. The warmth cradles you, now steady, safe, timeless. You are drifting, you are free, you are at peace. And in this space between waking and dreaming, the old blacksmith's whisper still lingers, faint as a memory, soft as the breath of wind through leaves. Rest now, traveler. The bellows will keep the rhythm. The world will wait until you wake. The final ember glows once, flares and fades. Silence, only breath, only peace, only sleep. Stay still for a moment. Feel how the quiet itself has a texture, like soft velvet brushing against your thoughts. The forge is sleeping now, but its warmth hasn't gone. It lingers, seeping gently into the floor, the air, the walls of timber, and into you. Outside, the forest murmurs in its ancient voice. The leaves tremble, the night creatures stir. Somewhere the stream that winds past the smithy hums like a song you half remember. Its water glows faintly in the moonlight, a ribbon of silver threading through shadow. And through it all, the bellows keep their rhythm, slowly inhaling, softly exhaling, drawing in the cool of the night, and breathing out warmth, comfort, peace. You can almost hear them whisper now, not in words, but in tone, a lullaby made of air, a tender murmur that drifts around you like a mother's hum. The apprentice, wrapped in a rough wool blanket, dreams beside the coals. His chest rises and falls in the same rhythm as the bellows, steady, sure, safe. And the old blacksmith, though his eyes are closed, does not sleep entirely. He listens. He listens to the secret that only those who have tended fire for a lifetime can hear, the soft speech of the embers. Each spark tells a story. Each flicker hums a truth. We are born from the breath of stars, they whisper. We remember the beginning of all things. The blacksmith smiles faintly. His hands that once shaped swords for kings and nails for cottages, now rest easy on his knees. He doesn't need to move. The rhythm is doing the work now. He can feel it vibrating in the air, the hum of the forge, the sigh of the night, the slow turning of the world beneath him. Let yourself feel that, too, that gentle hum that threads through the stillness. Let it move through your chest, through your hands, through your very breath, in and out, in and out. Every exhale carries away a fragment of thought, a speck of tension, a shadow of worry. Every inhale brings back warmth, stillness, quiet. The fire glows faintly behind your eyes now, its orange light flickering in rhythm with your heartbeat. You can imagine the forge clearly now, the anvil dark and solid, the tongs resting like old companions nearby, the scent of soot and oak, the faint metallic sweetness of iron cooling in the night air. And somewhere above, the moon peers through the smoke hole, spilling a pale beam of light across the blacksmith's bench. It touches everything softly, reverently. It turns the soot to silver. It turns the rough tools into sacred relics. It turns the old man's weary face into something timeless. He opens his eyes, gazing into that light, and whispers, half to himself, half to the night, fire and breath, heart and hand. That is all we ever are. The wind outside rustles as if in agreement. The forest sighs again, and you feel that sigh pass through you too, a long, gentle wave rolling across your mind, smoothing every edge, every thought, until all that remains is calm. Now imagine that wave carrying you deeper into rest. It moves from the top of your head down your shoulders, through your arms to the tips of your fingers, then downward still through your chest, your hips, your legs, until even your toes feel heavy, warm, and safe. The forge's heartbeat is your own now. The bellows' whisper is your breath. The world outside drifts further and further away, and you are exactly where you should be, here in the warmth and the hush and the peace. The blacksmith closes his eyes once more. The fire lowers itself to embers, and the night deepens into something softer, older, endless. All is still, all is safe, all is well. See, listen closely. Can you hear it? The slow, rhythmic sigh of the bellows continues, each breath softer than the last, as though the forge itself has learned how to dream. The air around the smithy is still warm, touched with the faint sweetness of burned pine, resin, and the memory of metal. But now, beyond the open door, the forest stretches in vast, velvety darkness. Fireflies float like wandering sparks, tiny echoes of the forge, drifting lazily among the ferns. And somewhere far away, an owl hoots once, then silence again, perfect and complete. You are here in this silence, not separate from it, but part of it. The stillness knows your name. The air accepts your breath. Each exhale melts more deeply into the hush until there is no border between your body and the night. The blacksmith shifts slightly on his stool. His eyes, half open, reflect the faint glow of the coals. They look almost like embers themselves, alive, steady, filled with patience. He hums a tune beneath his breath, an old melody carried through generations of smiths. It's not quite a song, more like a prayer, a low murmur of gratitude for the fire, the metal, the unseen spirits that guide the shaping of things. You might feel it vibrating faintly in the air, that hum. It moves through the floorboards, through your feet, through your chest, a small, resonant vibration, slow and soothing. And with every pulse, the forge seems to breathe along with you, in and out, in and out. You are resting in the rhythm of creation itself, the heartbeat of work and rest, of shaping and release. The blacksmith's apprentice stirs in his sleep, murmuring softly. The master glances at him, the corner of his mouth curling in quiet affection. He whispers just above a breath, "The metal teaches patience. The fire teaches mercy." And perhaps that is true of the world, too. The more you listen, the more you realize that every moment, every sound, every stillness is a kind of teacher. Even the soft hiss of cooling iron carries wisdom if your heart is quiet enough to hear it. The blacksmith rises slowly now, careful not to wake his apprentice. He moves with a grace born of long practice, the motion of one who knows every creak in the floor, every sigh of the bellows, every whisper of smoke. He steps outside. The night air greets him with a cool kiss. The stars stretch across the sky like grains of light scattered from the forge. The Milky Way arches above, a cosmic river of molten silver. He stands for a long time, simply breathing it in, the scent of damp moss and wood smoke, the hush of the forest holding its breath. And for a moment the world feels balanced on a quiet anvil of peace. You might feel it, too, that delicate stillness suspended between moments, that pause before dawn, that space between thoughts. It is in this stillness that rest deepens. So let it deepen now. Let the breath grow longer, slower, easier. Let the warmth of the forge inside you soften every corner of your being. There is nothing to do, no task to finish, no sound to chase. Only this moment of gentle being, The blacksmith gazes at the stars one last time before returning inside. He lays a hand on the doorframe, rough wood smoothed by years of touch, and whispers something old, something sacred. May every spark find its way home. And as he says it, one final ember floats up from the forge, rising higher, glowing brighter, until it joins the stars above. You watch it go, and in its wake you feel something ease inside you. A tiny weight lifting, a quiet release. You can rest now. The bellows breathe, the fire hums softly, and the world keeps its slow, tender rhythm. Everything is as it should be. The forge rests beneath a blanket of quiet now, its embers glowing like the final notes of a lullaby fading into the night. The air hums with the faint scent of iron and ash, a perfume that feels ancient, protective, like the breath of the earth itself. Outside, the moon has climbed high, bathing the clearing in silver light. It touches the roof of the smithy, the rough bark of nearby trees, the gentle ripples of the brook beyond the yard. Every surface seems to shimmer, softened by the glow. Inside, the rhythm remains, a whispering pulse that never truly stops. The bellows sigh once, then again, each exhale as tender as the ocean's tide. You can feel the breath of the forge move through the air, brushing over your skin like a warm wind. It invites you to breathe with it, to find that same quiet rhythm deep within your chest. In and out, in and out. The blacksmith sits once more beside his rusting apprentice, his large, calloused hands folded gently together. There is peace in his stillness, the kind that can only be found after years of shaping, mending, and waiting. The glow from the hearth casts his shadow on the wall, slow, shifting, like a spirit of fire still at work. He begins to speak softly, though his apprentice sleeps, and though you might not hear every word, the tone is calm and soothing, as though he's speaking directly to the soul of the forge and to you. Every flame begins small, he murmurs. Every breath gives it life. The hammer, the anvil, the heart, they are one. He pauses, the quiet settling again like snow. There was a time, he continues, when people thought smiths were keepers of magic. They believed our fires burned with more than heat, that they could chase away curses, calm, restless spirits, even mend the luck of a weary traveler. He smiles faintly at the thought. Perhaps it wasn't magic at all. Perhaps it was the rhythm, the breath and the hammer, the spark and the sigh, that sound that lulls the heart, that teaches patience. He gazes at the coals, their light reflected in his eyes. The fire has always been a guardian, he whispers, not just of warmth, but of stories and dreams. The bellows sigh again, steady and long. The apprentice stirs but doesn't wake. The night deepens around them both, vast, velvet, infinite. Now let that same warmth guard you. Imagine that the forge's glow lives inside your chest, a soft orange ember of comfort. It doesn't burn, it simply is, steady and kind, radiating safety outward. Each time you breathe, the ember glows a little brighter, and with each exhale it spreads calm through your body, down your neck, your shoulders, your arms, through your chest, your belly, your legs, until every part of you is wrapped in warmth. You are safe here. You are held by the rhythm. You are resting in the breath of creation itself. Outside, a soft breeze stirs the trees. The leaves rustle like whispers from long ago, secrets shared between the stars and the earth. And as the wind brushes through the open window, it mingles with the scent of the forge, smoke and pine and quiet power, and you breathe it in. The blacksmith's voice drifts through the stillness again. When you shape metal, you shape yourself. When you listen to fire, you remember what you are made of. His words float around the room, curling into the corners like gentle smoke. And as you listen, you can almost feel time slow, each second stretching wide, becoming soft and endless. You are no longer just listening to a story. You are part of it. You are sitting there in the quiet forge, bathed in the golden hush of the coals, breathing the same slow rhythm, feeling the same peace. The bellows sigh again, a deep, steady exhale, and the forge, the forest, and your heartbeat all blend into one sound, one presence, one peace. The world feels softer now, as though the air itself is thickened into a warm, golden mist. Each breath you take drifts in like smoke and settles gently around you. The forge has quieted, but its warmth still hums low in the floor and the walls and the heart of the night. The blacksmith leans back in his chair, gazing at the dim orange glow of the dying coals. His breath moves slowly, in harmony with the bellows that still whisper, now and then, like the steady breathing of an old friend who refuses to leave. In this hush, time no longer feels like something that passes, only something that expands. You could stay here forever, in the glow, in the stillness, in the lull of the forge's song. Outside, the forest breathes along with you. The trees sway faintly, their branches tracing gentle patterns against the star-swept sky. A fox passes quietly along the path beyond the fence, its paws silent against the earth. Every sound is part of the same rhythm now, the night itself keeping time with the bellows. In and out, in and out. You can imagine the air glowing faintly each time you exhale, as though your breath joins the forges, weaving invisible ribbons of warmth through the darkness. The apprentice shifts in his sleep, his head resting on his arm. The blacksmith watches him fondly. There's a quiet tenderness in his eyes, the kind that comes from many years of guiding others, of seeing mistakes turn into learning, of watching raw metal transform into beauty. He murmurs softly, not to wake the boy, but to keep the silence company. Every forge needs a still night, and every fire a breath of air. He reaches out and gently stirs the ashes with an iron rod. A few sparks rise, brief, brilliant, and gone again. Each one floats upward toward the rafters before disappearing into the shadows. You follow one of those sparks in your mind's eye, tiny, weightless, drifting higher and higher, glowing softer as it rises. You imagine it floating through the open window, past the eaves of the smithy, up through the canopy of the forest, until it's lost among the stars. and for a moment it feels as though you're drifting with it, weightless, glowing, free. There's no rush, no destination, only the quiet upward motion, carried by the night wind, watched by the moon. You glide past the trees, the brook, the stones slick with dew. You see the blacksmith's forge below, a small pool of orange light nestled at the edge of the forest, and it looks like a heartbeat in the vastness of the dark. That heartbeat is steady. That warmth never fades. It pulses gently, like a promise that even in the deepest night, light remains. Slowly the spark descends again, circling back through the window, returning to the warmth from which it was born. It lands softly in the ashes, just a shimmer now, no longer burning, but still glowing faintly, as though remembering the sky. The blacksmith nods to it with quiet recognition, as if greeting an old friend. All things return, he whispers. All things remember where they began. His words float through the air, gentle as dust motes dancing in the firelight. You feel their truth settle deep inside you, that there's a rhythm to everything, the rising and the falling, the heating and the cooling, the waking and the sleeping. And now it's your turn to rest deeper into that rhythm. Let your breath fall into it once more. In, warmth filling your chest. Out, release flowing through your body. Each breath carries you further into calm. Each sigh draws you closer to peace. The bellows breathe. The embers hum. The night watches over you like a guardian. You are safe here. You are held by the rhythm of fire and air, of sound and silence. And all around you, unseen but near, the spirit of the forge whispers softly, the lullaby of creation. Sleep, little flame. The world will wait. The air cools a little. The coals dim to a tender red. The blacksmith's eyelids lower, and the forge at last begins to dream. The forge dreams. It hums quietly in its sleep, the way a cat purrs beside a fire. Soft, rhythmic, content. Every ember glows like a tiny heartbeat beneath the ash, breathing warmth into the cool hours before dawn. You can feel that warmth radiating through the still air, brushing gently against your skin like a comforting hand. The scent of metal, smoke, and earth lingers in the air, grounding, ancient, real. The blacksmith has drifted into half-sleep. His head bows forward slightly, his breath deep and even. The apprentice lies curled near the hearth, cocooned in wool and shadow. Both are surrounded by the low hum of the forge, the slow pulse of the bellows. And you are part of that rhythm now, in and out, in and out. Every breath feels heavier, fuller, calmer. Your body grows heavier, too, as though the weight of rest itself is settling gently upon you, pressing you deeper into peace. Beyond the walls of the smithy, the night holds its breath. The forest has fallen completely still. The stars gleam like small holes in the great dark curtain of the sky, letting slivers of eternity peek through. A faint mist begins to rise from the nearby stream, curling through the clearing like a spirit made of moonlight. It drifts past the door of the forge, slides between the cracks of wood and stone, and twines softly around the anvil. The mist shimmers where it touches the embers, as if listening. And for a moment, the air hums with a low vibration, a sound felt more than heard. The forge answers the mist answers the forge. Their voices merge into a kind of harmony, low, resonant, wordless. It's a song older than memory, older than craft. The blacksmith stirs, opening one eye, not startled, but aware. He seems to understand what he's hearing, the language of the forged spirits, the breath of the world itself. He whispers into the quiet, his voice barely louder than a thought. Sing softly, my old friend. Let the world sleep easy. The sound grows warmer, fuller. It fills the air, wrapping the room in a soft vibration that seems to come from nowhere and everywhere at once. You can feel it, too, a hum deep inside your chest, a gentle resonance that feels like belonging. It steadies your heartbeat, smooths your thoughts, and lulls you deeper into calm. It feels like drifting on a warm current, like floating through honeyed light. The blacksmith closes his eyes again, and the harmony deepens. In his mind, and perhaps in yours, images flicker like dreams made of gold dust. A hammer striking in slow motion, sparks blossoming like fire flowers, a sword glowing red beneath a steady hand, a horseshoe cooling in water, steam rising like ghosts, a pair of hands, young, eager, trembling, learning to shape their first nail. Each image fades into another, forming a seamless river of creation and memory. This is what the forge dreams of. This is what the night remembers. And through it all, the bellows breathe in and out, slower now, so slow that each motion feels like a full minute of time. The world has matched its pace, and everything moves to that single pulse. You may find your own breath moving to it, too. Slow, deep, peaceful. The mist drifts closer to the sleeping apprentice, wrapping him gently in its silver veil. He sighs in his sleep, the sound soft and content, and the mist glows faintly as if answering him. The blacksmith watches, still and calm. He doesn't interfere. He knows this is part of the rhythm, part of the mystery. He whispers again, so quietly that only the fire could hear. Every breath feeds the flame. Every dream feeds the soul. The words sink into the air like warm stones into deep water. The sound fades. The glow softens. The forge, the forest, and the night all fold themselves into one long exhale. And you drift with it, downward gently, slower, stiller, until there is only the hum of the embers and the steady, endless rhythm of sleep. The forge glows like a heart in the darkness, not burning, not fierce, but alive. Its light flickers through the cracks in the walls and paints gentle lines of amber across the floorboards. The blacksmith and his apprentice sleep in that glow, their dreams woven together by warmth and rhythm. Outside, the forest sighs. The wind moves softly through the pines, and their long needles rustle like whispers passed between old friends. The stream murmurs quietly, its water threading silver through the roots of the world. And above it all, the stars continue their slow dance across the night. Everything is moving, slow, deliberate, eternal, as though the whole earth breathes in unison with the forge. in and out, in and out. Now imagine that you are not simply watching this scene, but within it. You can feel the faint warmth of the coals on your skin. You can smell the iron, the soot, the wood smoke, and the faint sweetness of burned oak sap. The air feels thick and safe, heavy with the quiet hum of work completed and rest well earned. The blacksmith's hammer rests on the anvil, its head reflecting a faint glimmer of light. Even still, it hums with a memory of movement. If you listen closely enough, you can almost hear it, a soft echo of rhythm, the faint ghost of its ringing voice still singing in the wood. It sounds like a heartbeat at rest. You let yourself match it, steady, slow, safe. Your own pulse becomes one with that quiet rhythm. Your breath slows to meet the bellows. Your thoughts drift like sparks dissolving into air. The blacksmith murmurs in his sleep, not words, just sounds. The kind made when the body remembers its purpose, even in dreaming. His apprentice turns over, the wool blanket sliding slightly, his face peaceful beneath its folds. There's no sound now except the slow, whispering breath of the forge. But the forge remembers. In its embers live centuries of stories, of hands that shaped, hearts that hoped, and fires that never truly died. As the blacksmith dreams, the forge dreams with him. The coals shimmer faintly, and for a brief moment, you can see images form in their glow, fleeting shapes that flicker in and out of existence. A pair of hands striking rhythmically, the glow of metal bending into shape, the smile of a woman waiting by the fire for her loved one to return, the laughter of children outside echoing between the trees. All of it, life, work, warmth, love, folded into the same pulse, the same breath. You realize as you watch that the forge is more than a place of labor. It's a keeper of life, a reminder that warmth, once kindled, carries through generations. The blacksmith stirs, his eyes half opening as if he's listening to something unseen. He speaks into the still air, barely above a whisper. Fire remembers kindness. Metal remembers care. The words seem to linger, glowing faintly in the space between breaths. You let them echo in your mind, slow and soft, until they become your own thought. Fire remembers kindness. Metal remembers care. It feels like a truth that doesn't belong to just this forge, but to every home, every heart that ever carried light into darkness. The bellows sigh again, once, twice, each breath slower than the last. The air hums with that familiar lull, pulling you deeper into stillness. Outside, a faint drizzle begins to fall, barely more than mist. The sound it makes as it touches the roof is soft and scattered, like the tapping of distant fingers on wood. The smell of rain joins the forge's perfume, and the two scents merge, fresh and warm, cold and glowing, a perfect balance. You listen to the rain for a while. You listen to the breathing of the forge, and in those sounds, you hear the entire world speaking quietly to itself, calm, endless, whole. The blacksmith's head tilts slightly toward the sound. He smiles in his sleep. Perhaps he dreams of rain tempering hot steel, of balance, of renewal. The mist outside deepens, and the forest fades into silver shadow. The rain grows softer still, almost imperceptible. It becomes part of the rhythm, part of the same infinite song. You can feel that song in your chest and now, gentle, low, steady. It is not asking anything of you. It is only offering peace. Let it wash over you. Let the warmth of the forge cradle your thoughts until even the last flicker of tension fades away. The coals shift softly. The bellows sigh one final time. The blacksmith breathes deep, and you, like them, fall deeper into rest, quiet, weightless, safe within the whisper of the bellows. The night deepens, and the forge seems to breathe in harmony with the world. Each sigh of the bellows is slower now, softer, as though it, too, is drifting toward sleep. Outside, the rain continues its delicate song, each droplet a note in a lullaby composed by the forest. The roof hums gently with the rhythm of it, and every once in a while a drop slips through a tiny crack, landing in the ashes with a soft hiss. That sound, the hiss, melts into the air like the faintest whisper of steam, the voice of the forge exhaling dreams. You can almost imagine what those dreams look like. The fire glows behind your closed eyelids, a deep ember red, pulsing in and out like the tide. The shadows shift in slow motion, curving gently like a dancer's hand. Every motion, every sound becomes a cradle for your mind. Now, take a slow breath in. Let it travel deep into your lungs, warm as the forge's glow. And as you exhale, feel every bit of tension leave your body, flowing out like smoke rising from the coals. The blacksmith's breath matches yours, steady, slow, a rhythm that has lasted centuries. His dreams are peaceful now. He stands again by his forge, but it is no longer the one bound by walls or time. This forge lives in the space between worlds, a place where sparks become stars and hammers shape the music of creation. He looks around him, and in this dream forge the air glows with liquid gold. The sound of his hammer is no longer loud. It's soft, musical, like rain on glass. Each strike shapes, not metal, but light. Each spark drifts upward and becomes a constellation, joining the vast sky above. And there, among those stars, he sees the figures of all who came before him, blacksmiths from centuries past, their faces lit by celestial fire. They nod to him not as masters, but as kin. Their voices blend together, forming a hum that sounds like the earth itself, low, resonant, endless. It is not speech, but understanding. In that sound he knows. Every act of creation, every tool forged, every spark kindled, is an offering to the balance of the world. To shape is to care. To heat and temper is to nurture and renew. He breathes in, feeling the truth of it, and the warmth fills his chest like light. Then the dream shifts, gently, slowly, like a leaf turning in a stream. He stands once more in his real forge, the one at the forest's edge. The glow of coals is faint, and morning is not far off. The rain has stopped. Mist curls lazily around the doorway. The forest hums with the quiet of dawn, waiting to be born. The blacksmith walks to the anvil and rests his hand upon the cool metal. It hums beneath his palm, faint but alive, as though it, too, remembers the rhythm of the night. He whispers, his voice barely audible, "Thank you for your song." And in that silence, you can almost hear the forge reply, not with words, but with warmth, a pulse, a glow, a sigh of peace. You stand there with him in your imagination, breathing in the scent of quenched coals and soft rain. It smells like renewal. It smells like calm. You realize that everything, the fire, the rain, the wind, the rhythm, is part of one lone exhale from the earth itself, and you're breathing with it. Your chest rises slowly, falls softly. The warmth in your body begins to spread from your hands to your shoulders, from your chest to your feet. Every muscle softens, every thought slows. Now, everything is still. You can almost hear the sound of the blacksmith's heartbeat merging with your own. Steady, strong, and kind. He looks toward the open door where mist still dances. A faint light touches the horizon, the first rush of dawn. It feels gentle, hesitant, like a promise whispered into the morning air. He smiles quietly to himself, then turns back to the forge and places another log on the coals. The flame stirs, wakes, and breathes again. It is a small gesture, a quiet act of care, but it carries the same rhythm that the night has taught him. Breathe in warmth. Breathe out peace. You take another breath with him, slow, deep, grounded. The sound of the bellows returns once more, faint and tender, like the sigh of a sleeping giant. It moves the air in gentle waves, and you can almost feel them brush across your skin. Each breath of the forge becomes a lullaby, each flicker of the flame a heartbeat of safety. Now, let go. Let yourself fall deeper into that rhythm. The fire hums softly. The world waits quietly, and everything is calm. The first threads of dawn weave themselves through the mist. They slide softly across the forest canopy, golden and quiet, glinting on dewdrops that hang like silver beads along each branch. You can feel the shift in the air, a change so gentle it feels like a sigh. Night is loosening its hold. The deep blue of the sky melts slowly into gray, then into the faintest wash of pink. Inside the smithy, the world glows in muted tones of amber and ash. The forge still breathes softly, the bellows whispering, the embers pulsing with warmth that lingers from the night. It's neither day nor night now, but that delicate in-between where dreams still linger and the waking world begins to hum. The blacksmith stirs, his eyes half open. He doesn't rise yet. He listens to the soft murmurs of morning, to the sigh of wind against wood, to the quiet song of the forest's awakening. And you listen with him. It begins as a faint hum, the low, rhythmic drone of insects calling to the coming light. Then the faintest bird song, like threads of melody unfurling into the mist. The first chirp echoes softly, then another, until a gentle chorus begins to bloom outside. Their voices do not rush. They do not demand. They rise and fall slowly, tenderly, as though the forest itself is stretching awake. The blacksmith breathes in that song, and his chest rises with the same rhythm as the bellows. In that breath you can almost sense gratitude, not spoken, not thought, but felt. He sits up slowly, careful not to disturb the peace that fills the room. His movements are deliberate, steady, and calm, the kind that comes from a life measured by rhythm rather than rush. He places his hands on his knees and leans forward slightly. The warmth of the forge kisses his skin, and the faint light of dawn touches his cheek. He whispers to himself, "Another fire, another day." You can hear the words echo quietly, as if the forge listens. Then he stands, moving toward the anvil. The metal surface glints faintly in the dim light. His hammer rests nearby, cold now, but still humming with memory. He doesn't strike yet. Instead, he simply holds it, feeling the weight in his hand. He turns it slowly, and the metal catches the soft dawn light, reflecting it like a captured star. You can almost feel the warmth of that light touch your own skin. You breathe it in, the faint glow, the scent of smoke, and new air, and as you do, you feel your body growing heavier, safer, more at rest. Your breath deepens again. Each inhale feels warmer, each exhale slower. The blacksmith moves to the forge and stokes the coals. They respond with soft crackles, a sleepy murmur, like laughter beneath the breath. The orange light grows, casting gentle shadows that sway across the walls. He takes a small piece of metal from the shelf, a simple bar of iron, and lays it across the anvil. The sound it makes is delicate, like a note of music placed carefully in silence. He turns to the bellows, places his hand upon them, and presses down gently. Whoosh, the first gust of air flows into the fire, awakening it. Sparks leap upward, tiny stars reborn from ash. Another push, whoosh, and the flame grows brighter. Each breath of the bellows carries rhythm and warmth, like the gentle inhale and exhale of the earth itself. The sound blends with the soft bird song outside, and together they form a melody of life awakening. The blacksmith smiles faintly. He does not rush. He allows the moment to unfold like a story being told by the air. You, too, allow yourself to follow that rhythm. Your body moves with the breath of the forge. Your mind sways with the song of the forest. You feel grounded, rooted, safe. The blacksmith lifts the metal with tongs and places it gently in the heart of the flame. It rests there, slowly drinking in the warmth. At first it's a dull gray, then faint red, then a deep orange glow. The color grows brighter with every breath of the bellows. The fire hums softly, and the air fills with the shimmering sound of heat. You can almost see it, waves of golden warmth flowing like silk through the air, curling around you, wrapping you in comfort. The metal begins to sing, that faint, high sound that only steel makes when it yields to the fire. It is not a cry of pain, but of transformation, the whisper of change, of creation, of peace and surrender. The blacksmith watches carefully, patiently. He knows the language of this sound. He waits until the glow is right, Not too bright, not too dim, just enough to feel alive. Then, gently, he lifts it from the forge and places it on the anvil. The first strike of the hammer is soft, barely a tap, a greeting, a good morning to the metal. Clink. Then another. Clink. The rhythm builds, but never harsh. Each sound is measured steady, like a heartbeat at rest. You feel that rhythm deep in your chest. It matches your breathing. It grounds you in the moment, safe, warm, calm. The hammer continues its gentle song. The forge hums. The morning light grows brighter, golden rays streaming through cracks in the wooden walls, catching the motes of dust that dance lazily in the air. Each mote glows like a floating ember, suspended in a world that has forgotten hurry. And in that golden calm, everything, fire, breath, earth, and heart, becomes one slow, perfect rhythm. The forge sings. Not loudly, not like the thunder of storms or the roar of wildfires, but with a gentle, steady voice. A sound that feels ancient, familiar, like the earth humming beneath your feet. The blacksmith's hammer moves in time with that song, and each strike feels like a breath. He isn't shaping metal, he's shaping calm. The metal yields, glowing soft and orange beneath his careful hands. Each motion carries patience, each pause intention. The sound echoes through the morning mist, gentle and far-reaching, like a lullaby that travels between trees. You can feel the vibration of each strike ripple through the air. It rolls over your skin like a wave of warmth, then melts softly into your chest. The sound becomes your heartbeat, your breath, your peace. Outside, the world continues to wake. Sunlight filters through the forest canopy, spilling golden ribbons across moss and root. The dew glitters like tiny mirrors, each drop holding a reflection of the sky. Birds call softly between branches, their notes bright but never sharp threads of music weaving through the fabric of morning. The blacksmith pauses, resting the hammer on the anvil. He wipes his brow, then exhales, slow and deep. A faint smile plays on his lips, the kind that belongs to someone who understands silence as much as sound. He looks down at the glowing metal and whispers, "It's not about the fire, it's about the breath." The bellows move again. The air rushes into the forge, fanning the flames to life. They shimmer like liquid light, curling around the metal in swirls of gold and scarlet. You can almost see faces in the fire-soft shapes, imagined perhaps of all who've ever stood before a forge. Craftsmen, dreamers, keepers of warmth. Their movements live in the rhythm of his hands. Their spirits breathe through the whispering bellows. He presses the metal once more, letting the heat and sound flow together. You hear the faint sizzle of transformation, the quiet alchemy of fire and patience. And somehow, as you listen, your mind grows lighter. Your thoughts drift like smoke rising from the coals. They curl and fade, dissolving into the air, leaving behind only quiet. The blacksmith hums softly now. It's not a song you recognize. It's older than memory. A tune without words, carried in the hum of his chest. Low and soothing, like the murmur of a river beneath starlight. You can feel that hum vibrate through your bones. It settles deep inside you where all worries used to live, and slowly it replaces them with stillness. The metal glows brighter, softer, truer. The blacksmith lifts it once more, turning it in the light, and the fire dances across its surface like sunlight on water. He cools it gently, dipping it into a basin of water with a soft hiss. The steam rises in curling ribbons, glowing faintly in the slant of dawn light. The smell fills the air, iron and rain and warmth, and it wraps around you like a memory of home. He holds the finished piece aloft, the water dripping down in shining trails. It is only a horseshoe simple, ordinary, but somehow it feels sacred. It gleams with the care of hands that have shaped not just metal, but peace. He sets it down on the table, then leans against the doorframe of the forge. Outside, the light grows stronger. The mist thins into soft gold. The forest hums in contentment. You watch as the blacksmith breathes, in rhythm with the wind, in rhythm with the world. And in that moment you understand, peace is not something that arrives suddenly. It's something forged, a quiet, glowing patience that lives in every small act of care, every gentle sound, every soft breath that fills the space between words. The bellows move again, slower now, softer. They whisper their ancient song, and you let yourself sink into it completely. In and out, in and out. The world begins to blur at the edges, your thoughts drifting like ash into twilight. The warmth around you deepens, and even the fire seems to breathe slower, calmer, as though it, too, is preparing for rest. Let that warmth cradle you. Let the hum of the forge carry you deeper into stillness. You are safe here, bathed in the rhythm of fire, the breath of air, the whisper of hands that shape peace from flame. The morning has fully arrived, yet it does not break the spell of quiet. The light enters the forge not as a blaze, but as a slow cascade, golden dust flowing through the air, landing softly on wood, on iron, on the blacksmith's worn hands. He stands by the doorway, watching the forest breathe. The rain has left the world washed and shining. Each leaf glitters, as though the trees have been dusted with stars. He takes a deep breath, filling his lungs with the scent of earth and smoke. The air is cool and wet against his skin, and the warmth of the forge hums gently behind him, a balance of elements, fire and water, breath and stillness. You feel it, too, that harmony. That steady pulse of life that exists between opposites, between heat and cold, light and shadow, sound and silence. The blacksmith moves slowly back to his work table. He picks up the still warm horseshoe and traces his thumb along its edge. The curve is smooth, alive with the memory of fire. He smiles faintly and sets it down beside others, each one slightly different, yet all sharing the same soul of care. Then he turns his attention to the forge once more. The coals have dimmed to a deep red. The bellows rest, quiet, their leather sides gently sagging in repose. He approaches them as one might approach an old friend. His hand brushes the handle, and for a moment he simply lingers there, feeling the softness of worn leather beneath his fingertips. Then, softly, he presses down. A long, slow breath escapes into the embers. They stir, glowing brighter for just a moment, then settle again into calm. The blacksmith's voice breaks the silence, low almost to himself. Even fire needs rest. He takes off his apron, folds it neatly, and hangs it on a peg by the door. Then, with the same care he gives to metal, he begins to tidy the tools of his trade, each hammer laid in its place, each tong aligned, each nail and horseshoe resting and ordered quiet. There is no rush, no noise, only the sound of metal touching wood, and the faint hum of the air as it warms and cools in waves. You watch, your breathing slow and matched to the rhythm of his movements. Every gesture seems to carry a message, that peace lives not in stillness alone, but in the care we take with the simplest moments. The blacksmith steps outside. The forest greets him with open arms. The path beyond his door is dappled with sunlight, and a light mist still curls around the roots of the trees. He stands for a moment in the threshold, one hand on the door frame, the other resting loosely at his side, and simply listens. The sound of a brook nearby trickles like laughter beneath the leaves. Birds sing in pairs. A soft wind moves through the canopy, making the branches sway like slow dancers in the morning glow. You feel as though you're standing there beside him. You can sense the cool breeze brushing against your face, carrying the scent of pine and ash and rain-washed soil. Your eyes close without effort, and for a long, slow moment, there is nothing but stillness. When you open them again, the blacksmith has moved to a small wooden bench just outside the forge. He sits, elbows on his knees, hands clasped loosely, eyes unfocused, not lost in thought, but resting within the comfort of being. A robin lands on the fence nearby, its red chest bright against the muted colors of dawn. It hops once, twice, then begins to sing, a clear, soft melody that fills the space between breaths. The blacksmith smiles. His head tilts slightly, as if listening to an old tune he's known his whole life. He murmurs, "Every song needs silence to grow." The words linger in the air, carried softly on the wind. You let them echo inside your mind, and with every repetition, they seem to quiet the spaces within you. Every song needs silence to grow, and so you breathe. You breathe with the trees, with the fire, with the steady pulse of life that moves quietly beneath everything. Your body feels lighter now, not empty, but free. Every thought that once felt sharp or hurried is now rounded, softened, carried away on the current of calm. The forge crackles faintly behind you. The forest hums. The robin's song fades gently into the distance. You can feel the warmth of the forge at your back, the cool of morning air before you, and between them, balance. Perfect, gentle balance. Let that balance fill you. Let it rest in your chest like a glowing ember that never burns out. Let it remind you that even in motion there is peace. Even in silence there is song. The bellows give one last sleepy sigh. The coals pulse once, twice, and the day begins its slow, graceful unfold. The blacksmith closes his eyes for a moment longer, and when he opens them again, the world is new. The sun rises higher now, threading its way through the tall trees that guard the forest edge. Its light pours like honey across the clearing, warm and slow, finding every droplet of rain, every petal, every quiet corner of the smithy. The world has awakened, yet nothing feels rushed. Even the light itself moves gently, as though it has learned the patience of the forge. The blacksmith sits quietly on the bench outside, hands resting loosely on his knees. He's not thinking of the day ahead, nor of the tasks that await him. He's simply listening to the world, to the faint echo of his own heartbeat, to the rhythm that binds them both. You can almost feel that rhythm yourself. Your breath mirrors it, slow and steady, each inhale drawing calm into your body, each exhale letting the last fragments of tension drift away. A soft breeze passes through the clearing. It brushes across your face and the blacksmith's, carrying with it the scent of damp earth, wood smoke, and wildflowers that bloom unseen in the undergrowth. Somewhere deeper in the forest, a wood pigeon coos, its low call melting into the hum of the day. The blacksmith's forge door creaks open behind him, moved gently by the wind. From within, the dying coals give a faint pulse of orange light, as if bidding farewell to the night. The bellows rest in perfect stillness now, their work complete, yet you can still hear them in memory, their whispers looping through the air like a lullaby that never truly fades. The blacksmith leans back slightly, letting the warmth of the morning sun settle over his shoulders. His hands are scarred, rough, strong, yet his touch on the bench's worn wood is tender, reverent. He runs his fingers along a groove in the surface, carved long ago, perhaps by another craftsman, another life. He smiles, not out of joy or sadness, but because he understands that every mark left by time is part of the same great design. He speaks softly, barely moving his lips. Every scar holds a story. The words drift through the clearing and dissolve into the air. They feel true and kind. You find yourself reflecting on that thought, too. Every scar, every ache, every quiet ache of memory, all part of what makes you whole, all part of the shape that the forge of life has given you. You breathe that truth in deeply, letting it settle behind your ribs, glowing faintly like an ember. The blacksmith stands. He moves with the same calm strength he always carries, his steps slow, deliberate. He walks toward a nearby tree, an ancient oak with gnarled roots that twist like sleeping serpents. Beneath it lies a small wooden box, half buried in moss. He kneels and opens it. Inside are small pieces of his past, tiny nails bent and worn, a small pendant in the shape of a flame, a strip of leather, cracked but still fragrant, and a folded scrap of parchment. He lifts the parchment carefully, unfolding it with steady hands. The writing is faded, but the words are still legible. To work with fire is to understand patience. To breathe with it is to learn peace. He reads the words once, twice, then folds the paper again and returns it to the box. His hand lingers on the lid, and he closes it softly, as one might close a prayer book. Then he looks upward, through the branches, past the leaves that shimmer in the light, and for a moment his eyes reflect the glow of the morning sky. He whispers, "Thank you for your breath." The forest seems to answer him. A gentle gust of wind stirs the leaves above, creating a rustle that sounds almost like laughter. The branches sway, the sunlight flickers, and everything, for a heartbeat, feels alive and listening. You watch, feeling that connection flow through you too. The air you breathe now feels older, deeper, shared. It's the same air that fuels the forge, the same that stirs the trees, the same that is whispered through 1,000 dawns before this one. You close your eyes. The sounds blend together. The rustle of leaves, the soft hiss of cooling coals, the distant call of a bird, until they become one gentle hum. And in that hum, you find yourself floating, not drifting away, but returning to something quieter, simpler, more whole. The warmth of the forge is still with you, soft and golden at the edges of your awareness. It spreads slowly, wrapping around you like the memory of a blanket warmed by the fire. Your muscles relax further. Your thoughts move slower. Even your breath becomes lighter, effortless. You can almost hear the bellows again, faint, rhythmic, eternal, breathing with you, in and out, in and out. Each breath polishes your stillness. Each exhale smooths the last rough edges of your thoughts. You are here, safe, balanced. The blacksmith sits once more beneath the oak, leaning back against its trunk. The light flickers gently through the leaves, dappling his face in shifting gold. He closes his eyes, and for the first time in a long while, he simply rests. The forest seems to cradle the blacksmith in its arms, rocking him gently with the rhythm of the wind. The leaves murmur above, a soft and endless whisper. Neither words nor silence, but something in between, something ancient. You can almost feel that whisper, too, brushing lightly against your own thoughts. It reminds you to breathe slowly, to trust the stillness, to let yourself drift, not away, but deeper, deeper into calm, deeper into the space between the flickers of thought, deeper into the warmth that hums quietly beneath every breath. The blacksmith's chest rises and falls, slow and even. His breath and the forest's breath are one and the same now. The two have merged, the man in the woods, the hammer and the song, the fire and the air. For a while, nothing moves but the light itself, slipping lazily between the branches. The forge glows faintly behind him, and its scent, metal and ash and warmth, carries outward in invisible waves. It mingles with the crisp smell of earth and pine. It lingers in the mind like a memory that refuses to fade. Inside the smithy, a single coal flares, as if remembering what it once was. It breathes, a soft pulse of orange light, then settles again into quiet red. The bellows do not move, yet you can hear them in your mind, gently expanding and contracting with the rhythm of the wind. Their ghostly whispers are almost a lullaby now. The sound matches your own breathing in perfect time. Each exhale feels lighter, softer. Each inhale feels fuller, like your lungs are drinking moonlight instead of air. In the blacksmith's dream, the world is different. He dreams of a forge that floats in the sky, suspended among stars that shimmer like tiny sparks. He dreams of shaping constellations with his hammer, each strike ringing out a note that becomes part of a cosmic melody. Every spark he creates becomes a star, every star a story. And there, in that boundless night, his hammer moves with infinite grace, not to shape metal, but to shape peace, to shape quiet, to shape sleep itself. He sees faces in the starlight, travelers, wanderers, dreamers, all resting beneath his celestial forge. They breathe the same rhythm he does. They sleep in the warmth of his gentle creation, and through them all his whisper flows. Rest easy, little soul. The world will still be turning when you wake. His words drift across the dream sky, carried by starlight and silence. They fall like feathers through your own thoughts, landing softly somewhere deep within. You feel their warmth spread slowly from your chest to your shoulders, to your fingertips, to your toes. It feels like a slow tide of comfort, washing away all that is restless. You let it happen. You surrender to it completely. In the waking world, the forge crackles softly. A few coals stir, letting out quiet sighs that sound almost like breathing. Outside, the breeze hums through the cracks in the stone wall, slipping past the door and touching the blacksmith's hair. A single feather drifts through the air, pale and delicate, caught in the morning light. It spins gently, dances once, and settles near his hand. He doesn't stir, but in his dream, a white spark lands upon his anvil, the same shape, the same softness. He knows it for what it is, a promise of rest. The soundscape around him becomes one of perfect harmony. The steady thrum of the forest's pulse, the distant coo of a dove, the soft hiss of cooling embers, and somewhere just beneath it all, the rhythmic breath of the bellows, whispering lullabies to anyone who will listen. You listen. You let the sounds flow through you, not just around your body, but into it. They move through your thoughts like gentle rivers, carrying away anything heavy, anything sharp, anything that clings. You are weightless now. You are still, yet vast, like the quiet air that fills the smithy. The blacksmith's dream fades into a deeper dark, a darkness not of fear, but of complete surrender, a darkness that feels safe, like velvet around the mind. He sleeps soundly, and you follow him there, step by step, breath by breath. You drift down into the same sleep, the same soft heartbeat of the forge, the same calm rhythm of breath, the same whispering bellows that hum quietly at the edge of the world. In and out. In and out. The story hums with you now. No longer words, no longer sound, just rhythm and peace and silence. The forest holds its breath, not from fear, but from reverence, the kind of hush that falls when life itself listens. Every leaf, every blade of grass, every drifting mote of light seems suspended in that moment between wakefulness and dream. The blacksmith still sleeps beneath the ancient oak, his chest rising and falling in slow rhythm. The birds have quieted, and only the low hum of the forge remains, a steady, living heartbeat of warmth. You can hear it, too, a gentle pulsing sound, deep and soft, like the earth itself is breathing, like the world beneath your thoughts is exhaling slowly into peace. The breeze moves again, a cool ribbon of air winding through the trees. It passes over the blacksmith, over the moss-covered stones, and carries onward into the forge. Inside it meets the lingering heat and sighs, weaving a song from ember and air. The bellows, though still unmoving, echo faintly. Their whisper is subtle, more imagined than real now, yet its rhythm is unmistakable. Each wave of sound stretches out, melts into silence, then rises again, a tide of rest that never ends. And with every pulse you feel your body growing heavier, softer, more at ease. Imagine yourself now sitting at the edge of that clearing. You can see the forge from where you rest. Its glow faint but steady, the last embers winking in the half-light of morning. You can feel the cool forest floor beneath you, the soft moss cushioning your legs, the distant hum of life surrounding you. A tiny spark drifts from the forge and lands near your hand. It glows for a heartbeat, then fades, leaving behind a trace of warmth, a pulse of reassurance, as if the forge itself were saying, "You are safe here." The blacksmith stirs in his sleep, murmuring something that sounds like a name, or maybe just a sigh. The dream has carried him far beyond the edge of waking now. In his dream, he is not alone. He walks along a river made of molten silver, its current smooth and slow. On either side, stars bloom like wildflowers, their light shimmering in ripples. He carries no hammer here, no tools, no burden. Only his hands, open and steady. And the river sings to him, not in words, but in tone, in vibration. It hums the same melody that once echoed through his forge, the sound of bellows breathing, of fire shaping, of wind sighing between stone walls. He follows that sound deeper into the dream. Each step takes him further from the noise of thought, closer to the stillness that lies beneath all sound. You walk beside him now, not as a guest, but as part of the same quiet current, both of you moving in time with the world's slow heartbeat. Every breath you take syncs with the river's flow. Every sigh becomes part of its song. You look up, and the sky above isn't black or blue. It's molten gold, swirling like liquid sunlight. Through it drift sparks and embers, turning slowly, falling like gentle snowflakes. They touch your shoulders, your hair, your fingertips, each one cool at first, then warm. They don't burn, they bless. The blacksmith lifts one spark in his hand, watching it pulse like a living heartbeat. He smiles softly and whispers, "Every flame has its kindness." His voice echoes through the dream, spreading outward until it becomes a whisper in your own ears. You feel that truth settle deep inside you. The heat of the spark becomes light. The light becomes peace. The peace becomes sleep. And you drift with it, deeper still, where words fade, and only sensation remains. The forest outside breathes again. A bird stirs, testing a quiet note of song. Somewhere far off, a brook begins to murmur. The world is waking, but you are not rushed to follow. The forge will still be there, glowing softly. The bellows will still whisper their slow, patient lullaby. The rhythm of the hammer will still echo in memory, not as noise, but as pulse, as heartbeat. For now, all that's needed is rest. Deep, unbroken, silver-toned rest. Your breath matches the forest again, calm and sure. Your mind floats in the golden haze between waking and dreaming. And just as the blacksmith smiles in his slumber, you too feel the same small, effortless smile touch your lips. The world is warm, the air is kind, and the night, though gone, still hums its quiet promise. You are safe, you are loved, you can sleep. The light of morning softens, as if even the sun understands the need for quiet. It spills through the trees, not as fire, but as breath, slow, silken, golden. The forest stretches beneath it, still drowsy from the night's long lullaby. The blacksmith's forge stands serene, smoke curling lazily upward from its chimney. The air smells faintly of iron and pine, of warmth and memory. Each breath you take carries a hint of that scent, grounding, ancient, comforting. The blacksmith has not yet woken. He rests beneath the great oak still, his face turned slightly toward the light. The shadows of leaves play gently across his skin, moving like ripples on a quiet pond. And though his body lies still, his spirit travels far through the soft pathways of dream. In his dream he finds himself in the forge once more. But the forge is not as it was. The walls have melted into mist, and the ceiling opens into a boundless sky. Stars glitter above, shimmering like embers flung from invisible hands. He feels the familiar tools near him, the hammer, the tongs, the bellows, yet they seem lighter now, as though made from thought itself. When he moves his hand, the hammer lifts, gliding through the air, striking metal that glows brighter than gold. Each strike releases not a clang, but a note, a low, resonant hum that vibrates through his chest. Another strike joins it, then another, until a melody begins to take shape, slow, hypnotic, circular. It's the sound of creation itself, of rhythm without end. You can feel it, too, deep in your body, a vibration that hums at the base of your spine, spiraling upward through your ribs, your throat, your mind. It feels like peace given form. The blacksmith forges not weapons now, nor tools, nor armor. He forges light, strands of it, molten and alive, weaving them like thread. They stretch outward, forming bridges between stars, glowing softly like cobwebs touched by dawn. Each bridge hums with quiet power, connecting everything to everything else. The bellows breathe again, somewhere behind him, but their breath is not of air now, it's of starlight. Each whisper fuels the glow, each sigh expands the dream. And through it all, you breathe too. The same rhythm, the same infinite inhale, infinite exhale. The dream begins to merge with your own. You stand beside him in the forge of light, your reflection flickering in the golden floor. He turns toward you, his eyes kind and clear, holding the soft warmth of coals at rest. Do you hear it? He asks quietly. His voice is the sound of embers sighing. You listen. There it is, faint but eternal, the whisper of the bellows, the pulse of the forge, the slow breathing of the world itself. Yes, you whisper back. The blacksmith smiles. He gestures toward the light he's been shaping, and you see that it has not just a pattern, not just bridges between stars. It's a tapestry. Woven into it are the moments of your own life, memories, faces, places, all glimmering softly, held together by invisible threads of warmth. You see laughter long forgotten. You see tears, gentle and needed. You see the quiet hours, the small kindnesses, the breaths you never noticed. Each one a spark in the grand weave of your being. The blacksmith's hammer stills. He looks at his work with calm satisfaction and says almost to himself, "The forge never forgets what it creates." His gaze feels like sunlight through morning mist, clear but never harsh. "You've always been part of this rhythm," he continues. "Every breath, every heartbeat, every moment of stillness, all of it keeps the world alive." You nod. You don't need words to answer. You understand. The dream begins to soften, the light turning from gold to pale silver. The stars fade, the sound of the forge dissolving into the hush of the forest. You're aware of your breath again, gentle, slow, steady. The same rhythm remains, though the dream is fading. The blacksmith's voice follows you into waking. When you sleep, the world breathes easier. The words linger, echoing like a lullaby carried on the breeze. They settle in your chest where the warmth of the forge still glows faintly. You exhale, feeling your body sink deeper into the surface beneath you. The bed, the moss, the earth itself. Every muscle loosens, every thought unwinds. You are heavy, safe, grounded. Outside, the world stirs gently. A robin sings. The wind sighs through the branches. The forge hums softly, a song without beginning or end. And somewhere, faintly, you hear the whispering bellows once more, their voice softer now, like a memory that breathes. Until the rhythm becomes your own. Until the sound carries you even deeper into stillness. Until sleep itself, warm and vast, folds around you like a blanket of light. The morning hum lingers like a secret the forest keeps. Mist drifts low along the ground, curling around stones and roots, wrapping the blacksmith's world in silken gray. You can smell the dew on the leaves, crisp, clean, touched by iron and smoke. Every droplet trembles in the air, reflecting faint glimmers of light, as if the forge's fire still flickers inside them. The blacksmith finally opens his eyes. For a moment, he doesn't move. He simply watches the breath of the world, slow tendrils of fog gliding past his face, the oak's limbs stretching overhead. His mind is quiet. No rush of thoughts, no pull of worry, only stillness. He feels the faint pulse of warmth in his chest, the echo of that dream forge still glowing beneath his ribs. It doesn't fade, it settles, becoming part of him. He lifts his hand, palm upward. Tiny sparks of light shimmer in the air, swirling around his fingers. He smiles, not surprised. The boundary between waking and dreaming feels thinner than ever, as if the night's magic still lingers, gentle and real. You can feel that same thinness. The world around you feels both solid and fluid, the edges soft like watercolor. The forest, the forge, the air, all breathing with you, all part of the same slow rhythm. The blacksmith rises to his feet. He moves to the forge, brushing dew from his apron, his boots whispering across the dirt. The door creaks as he enters, and the soft orange glow greets him like an old friend. He lays his hand on the anvil, cold now, yet alive with memory. Every mark, every dent, every gleam of worn metal holds a story. He feels each one through his skin, like reading Braille from the past. He breathes in deeply. Then he reaches for the bellows, the whispering bellows that once sang the night to sleep. He presses them gently. The sound fills the forge again, low and patient. Not a command, not an effort, a greeting. The coals, sensing the breath, answer with faint sparks. The blacksmith adds a few twigs, then a small piece of wood. The flame catches. A flicker, a dance, a golden bloom. The sound and the light merge, the forge alive again. But this time it feels softer, more like prayer than labor. He speaks quietly, more to the flame than to himself. Every morning is a new metal to shape. Every breath a spark. The bellows exhale, slow and rhythmic. Their sighs fill the small space with calm. You can feel that rhythm traveling outward and to your own breathing, slow, easy, steady. The world beyond the forge brightens, but inside it remains tenderly dim, the light flickering across the walls like golden water. Dust motes float through the beams of light, tiny shimmering embers of peace. The blacksmith begins his work, not striking yet, not shaping, only listening. He listens to the fire's hum, to the wood's soft crackle, to the pulse of air from the bellows. He listens until he can hear his own heart moving with them. And somewhere deep inside you realize you've been listening too, not to sound, but to stillness, to the whispering forge within your own chest. Your breath slows once more. Your shoulders sink. The space behind your eyes softens, opening like a flower at dawn. The blacksmith smiles faintly, feeling that same peace ripple through the air. He lifts his hammer, not to strike, but to hold it in the light. Its surface gleams like dawn reflected in silver water. He whispers to it as one might whisper to a sleeping friend. We begin again. And the hammer hums quietly in response. The forge sighs, the bellows breathe, and the forest beyond sways gently, as though nodding in agreement. Everything, the flame, the air, the breath, the light, moves as one, all in rhythm, all at peace. The bellows breathe, and the forge glows brighter soft gold, deepening into the color of honey and amber. Each sigh of air carries warmth into the room, the flame responding with a lazy dance. The sound is steady and calm. You can feel that rhythm weaving gently into your chest. The blacksmith closes his eyes for a moment, listening. His world is all texture and tone heat, metal, the scent of oak smoke. Nothing demands, nothing hurries. Even the hammer in his hand seems to rest with him. When he begins to work, it is almost ritual. He lifts a small bar of iron, placing it within the coals. The fire takes it with a sigh, surrounding it in slow, patient heat. He waits, not counting time, but breathing it. The metal warms with him, breathing in flame as he breathes in air. Outside, the forest murmurs in its own rhythm, branches creaking softly, birds speaking in quiet tones, leaves brushing together in little conversations of wind. It feels as though the entire world has synchronized itself to the pace of the forge. Slow, gentle, steady. You can almost imagine sitting just inside the doorway, watching. The light touches your skin with soft warmth. The bellows whisper their endless lullaby. Each exhale fills the space between your thoughts with peace. The blacksmith opens the forge door a little wider. The morning light slips in, mingling with the glow of the coals, until everything takes on that half-real shimmer between fire and daylight. The mist outside is fading now, but still lingers low, like silver breath, over the grass. He removes the iron, glowing orange at its edges, and sets it on the anvil. The first strike of the hammer rings out, not loud, not harsh, but resonant. The sound expands in slow ripples, a deep hum that feels more like music than metalwork. Each strike has a breath between. The rhythm folds into you. The spaces between the sounds are as beautiful as the sounds themselves. And within that rhythm, your mind loosens its hold on waking. Your body softens a little more. Each sound, each breath, each glimmer of fire seems to draw you further inward, toward the quietest place in yourself. The blacksmith smiles faintly as he works. He knows this rhythm better than language. He has lived his whole life to its steady music, and in that music he feels no separation, no line between himself and the flame, the metal, the bellows, or the sky. He whispers softly to the glowing iron as though to a living thing. Breathe with me. The metal sings in reply. It changes shape with ease, the hammer gliding rather than striking. Each blow guides rather than commands. Each spark is a heartbeat. You watch those sparks leap and swirl through the air, tiny stars spinning in slow motion. They fade before they fall, leaving trails of gold that linger in your sight like afterimages of peace. The smell of warm metal and pine smoke fills the forge. It's earthy, grounding, real, an aroma that pulls you into the present moment. There's nothing else to do, nothing else to think, only this. The blacksmith stops for a moment, setting the hammer down. He exhales slowly, his breath carrying through the stillness. He looks at the iron now reshaped, glowing softly, a piece of art emerging from patience. He does not rush to quench it. He waits, letting it cool at its own pace. He trusts the rhythm of the fire, the timing of the world. And as you watch, you find that you trust that rhythm too. You let it guide your breath, your pulse, your mind. Each inhale feels deeper, like it draws warmth from the forge. Each exhale feels longer, like it releases everything heavy and unneeded. The air around you hums faintly, the sound of calm made visible. The bellows whisper once more, softer now their sigh like the breath of sleep itself. The blacksmith whispers again, though you're not sure if he speaks to the forge or to you. Rest, and let the fire do the shaping. The words float through the air like drifting ash, slow, glowing, eternal. You breathe them in. You let them become your own thought. And in that breath you feel it, the still, endless forge inside you, quiet, patient, alive. The forge hums low as twilight begins to fall once more. That sacred hour when the world seems to hold its breath between day and night. Soft blue light touches the leaves outside, and through the half-open door, the whisper of the forest deepens, moss, soil, and distant stream joining the evening air. The blacksmith places his tools aside, not hurriedly, not with fatigue, but with reverence, as though each piece of iron and wood carries the memory of countless quiet nights just like this. He wipes his brow, not from exhaustion, but from the simple rhythm of labor. Then he leans against the anvil, eyes half closed, letting the warmth from the coals soak into him. The sound of the bellows slows, becoming almost indistinguishable from breathing. The listener, you remain still, surrounded by the hush. You sense the forge's glow behind your eyelids, even if your eyes are closed. You can imagine it painting slow-moving shapes of gold across the floor, each flicker a reminder that peace is never static. It dances, it breathes. Somewhere in the distance an owl calls once, a faint, tender sound, like a lullaby for the forest. The bellows respond with a soft exhale, as though the forge itself acknowledges the night's arrival. The blacksmith turns toward the door, where the forest waits in dusky silver. He steps out for a moment, letting the cool air wrap around him. Above, the first stars bloom across the indigo sky. Their reflections glint faintly in the dew, gathering on the grass, tiny mirrors of the sparks he'd shaped just hours before. He speaks softly to himself, perhaps to the stars, perhaps to the tools resting behind him. Every spark finds its place. Every ember finds its night. He stands there quietly listening. No need to move quickly. No reason to think ahead. Just being a man, a forge, and the forest breathing in unison. And you, listening now, can feel that alignment. Your breath slows to match the rhythm. Your body softens in the same cadence as the bellows. Each exhale feels like warm air, leaving the forge gentle, steady, glowing faintly with release. In the hush, the sounds begin to layer in your mind. The low hum of the coals, the faint creak of wood settling, the distant rustle of leaves shifting in the dark. Each one blends into a soft, ambient symphony of restfulness. It is as though the forge itself becomes an instrument, its every breath a lullaby. The bellows, with their deep sighs, form the bass line of tranquility. The sparks that rise and fall are the melody, fleeting and delicate. And the hammer, though now silent, lingers in memory as a heartbeat beneath it all. The blacksmith closes his eyes and whispers, not for anyone to hear, but for the air to carry. May the warmth stay where it's needed most. The forge answers in silence, yet somehow that silence feels alive. It carries meaning, depth, a softness that speaks louder than words. You sense that warmth move through the air toward you, like invisible light, like a gentle pulse of care. The longer you sit within this imagined space, the more real it becomes. The warmth touches your chest, the quiet fills your ears, and the steady rhythm seeps deeper past your thoughts, past your memories, into the place where only peace remains. Now, imagine the air around you glowing faintly, golden dust in the stillness. Each speck of light floats with purpose, some rising from the coals, others drifting down like starlight returning home. The world has become a slow dream of fire and breath. The blacksmith watches this with the patience of one who has seen countless nights like it. He does not speak now. He simply listens to the whisper of the bellows, the slow settling of metal, the unspoken music of rest. And as you listen with him, the edges of your awareness begin to blur. The room, the forge, the world, everything softens until it feels weightless. Only the breath remains. In, out, in, out. The bellows sigh and rhythm perfectly matched to you. The forge's glow fades to a dim, pulsing ember. The forest hums its ancient lullaby. You are safe here. You are warm. You are home within the stillness. Nothing more is needed. Nothing more must be done. The night will carry you the rest of the way. The forge glows faintly now, a gentle pulse in the quiet heart of the forest night. Each ember is a star, breathing softly upon the coals, shimmering in time with the slow exhale of the bellows. The air feels heavier, yet softer, a cocoon of warmth that presses gently against your skin like the comfort of a wool blanket. Inside this stillness, sound is almost sacred. The faint hum of the metal cooling, the whisper of air slipping through the bellows' leather folds, the rhythmic crackle of a few stubborn coals. Each noise feels alive, breathing, calm. The blacksmith, his face silvered by moonlight, moves as though through a dream. He tends to the embers with delicate gestures, stirring only what needs stirring. Every movement has meaning. Every pause is intentional. He is both maker and meditator, servant and storyteller of the flame. He whispers something old, a charm passed from master to apprentice. Sleep, little ember, till dawn renews thy glow. It's not meant for human ears, but for the fire itself, for the living rhythm of warmth that has shared his solitude through countless nights. The words flow through the room like smoke soft, curling, almost weightless. You feel them drift toward you, wrapping gently around your thoughts, coaxing them to rest. Outside, the wind moved through the trees with a voice like silk. It threads between the forge's wooden beams, carrying the scent of the forest pine resin, cool earth, and faint sweetness from some unseen blossom. You inhale deeply, and with each breath you feel that scent fill you with serenity. You can almost hear the leaves responding, whispering back to the forge, the same way the bellows whisper to the coals. The night deepens. Somewhere in the distance a brook murmurs to itself, its voice as steady, low, liquid, and eternal. The blacksmith's cat, a quiet shadow, pads across the floor and curls near the warmth. Her purr joins the harmony, low and rhythmic, blending with the sigh of the bellows. The entire space is a lullaby, now an orchestra of breath and stillness. Nothing stirs that isn't meant to. Nothing burns too bright or fades too fast. Everything for this one perfect moment is in balance. The blacksmith sits by the forge and lets his head rest in his hands. His eyelids grow heavy, and his thoughts wander, not to work, not to worry, but to the faint hum that connects everything together. The same hum that seems to travel from the coals to his chest, and from his chest outward to the stars above. You feel it, too, a gentle pulse beneath the quiet, a sense that the forge, the forest, the sky all breathe together. The rhythm matches your heart, and your heart matches the rhythm. You have become part of the same peaceful design. Now, imagine this sound in your mind, the low inhale of the bellows, and the soft release inhale, exhale, warmth spreading with every breath, peace deepening with every exhale. You are no longer just an observer. You are within the rhythm, a living note in the song of the forge. Each spark that drifts upward carries a fragment of your tiredness away. Each sigh from the bellows sends comfort through your limbs. The longer you stay, the lighter you feel. The blacksmith hums an old melody, one taught by his grandmother, a song for cooling steel and calming hearts. No words, only tone, low, steady, circular. It moves in waves, and the air around you vibrates with its tenderness. You feel the hum through your skin, your heartbeat syncing with it, until even your breathing follows its rhythm. Time no longer exists here. Only motion, only warmth, only the pulse of rest. Even the stars outside seem to slow their twinkling, as if the sky itself has surrendered to the quiet. The cat's purring fades into the silence. The bellows whisper one last long breath. The coals sigh, a deep, contented note, before settling into their ember glow. And then nothing but peace. The kind of silence that hums. The kind of stillness that speaks. The kind of rest that feels like being held by the world itself. The blacksmith breathes deeply once more and closes his eyes. His forge will keep its warmth through the night, waiting, breathing, dreaming, and you resting now in that same rhythm are carried with it. Inhale the glow, exhale the world. Let the whispering bellows lull you into their ancient dream. The night has deepened into a soft, endless hush. Even the stars seem quieter, now tiny lanterns suspended in stillness, their light barely trembling in the vast velvet sky. Within the forge, the last of the embers glow like fireflies trapped in a dream, shimmering gently with each lazy breath from the bellows. You can hear that sound again. The forge breathes, and the air swells softly around it. The rhythm is slow and steady, ancient as the earth beneath it. That rhythm becomes your rhythm. Each inhale is the warmth of the coals. Each exhale, the calm of the forest night. The blacksmith rests in a wooden chair, worn smooth from years of quiet evenings, just like this one. His eyes half close, and his thoughts begin to drift like smoke curling toward the rafters. He doesn't think of tomorrow's work, or of the blades he must mend, or the horseshoes awaiting polish. He simply listens to the fire, to the bellows, to the invisible song of night. He has always believed that metal remembers, that it carries whispers from every hand that has shaped it, every flame that has kissed it, every breath that cooled it. And perhaps in this still hour the forge remembers too. It hums with a memory older than him of masters and apprentices, of whispered prayers and glowing steel, of fire used not to destroy, but to protect. He lifts his head slightly, eyes catching the faint shimmer of moonlight on the bellows' brass fittings. They gleam softly, like tiny mirrors reflecting the unseen. He smiles a small, contented thing, and whispers a lullaby to the coals. Sleep now, my friend of flame. Rest until dawn's first name. You've sung your warmth, you've forged your peace. Now let the night your glow release. His voice fades into the stillness, barely a breath, yet it lingers in the air like incense. The forge responds with a low, content sigh, a final exhale of golden warmth. It fills the space with a gentle hum, a sound that feels like it's coming from the world itself. And you listening now, breathing in that warmth, feel yourself slipping deeper into rest. The rhythm of your breath slows. Your thoughts begin to fade into soft impressions, sparks drifting, coals glowing, the forest breathing. You are not separate from it. You are it. You are the sighing bellows, the flickering ember, the whisper of the night air through the forge door. Now, imagine your surroundings with gentle clarity. The smooth stone floor beneath your feet, faintly warm from the day's labor. The smell of iron, pine, and smoke blending in a perfect harmony. The texture of air thick with calm. And outside, beyond the doorway, the forest shimmers with dew, its breath slow and easy. Every detail adds another layer to your peace. Every sound folds into the next until you cannot tell where one ends and another begins. The world has become a single, endless breath. The blacksmith leans back in his chair, eyes fluttering, closed. He does not fight sleep, it comes to him like an old friend. His breathing joins the forge's rhythm, steady, deep, soothing. Each exhale seems to cool the air just enough for the coals to glow a little longer, a little softer. You feel that same peace now. It spreads from the center of your chest outward, dissolving tension as it goes. Your shoulders soften. Your arms grow heavy. Your thoughts float like sparks, brief, light, fading before they fall. There's a sense that time itself has slowed to the forge's pace. No hour, no minute, only the steady music of breath and warmth. The night outside no longer feels vast or empty. It feels safe, like a blanket drawn over the earth. Every creature rests. Every leaf is still. Even the stars seem to close their eyes. The blacksmith's tools glint faintly in the firelight, their edges no longer sharp, but softened by shadow. They too seem at rest, their purpose fulfilled for now. The hammer lies quietly, its weight at peace. The tongs rest open like hands in prayer. The anvil gleams faintly beneath the drifting glow of embers, a monument not to labor, but to patience. And the bellows, ever faithful, breathe one final lullaby of ere-long, gentle, soothing. Their sigh becomes your sigh. Their stillness becomes your stillness. And somewhere in that deep connection, you feel yourself surrender completely to rest. Inhale slow and warm. Exhale long and free. Feel the fire inside you dim to the perfect glow of peace. You are calm. You are safe. You are part of the forge's eternal song. The blacksmith dreams beside you now. You can almost hear his dreams in the rhythm of the night, a dream of stars and sparks, of hammers that sing softly, of warmth that never fades. A dream that belongs not only to him, but to everyone who's ever found comfort in the hum of creation. And as that dream wraps around you, your final thoughts dissolve like smoke into the still air. You are home in the whisper of the bellows. You are warmth. You are silence. You are rest. Breathe in. And as you do, let the world melt quietly around you. The forge, the air, the forest all become one great breath, slow and deep, alive with warmth and silence. You feel the rhythm settle in your chest steady as the pulse of the earth beneath your feet. The blacksmith sleeps by the fading fire. His hands, worn and scarred by a lifetime of patient work, rest upon his chest, open, gentle. Beside him the bellows hang in stillness, their task complete. The air is soft and heavy, glowing faintly with the memory of the day's warmth. A few small embers remain, pulsing with light like fireflies in slow motion. They do not fight the darkness, they hum within it. They trust the night, knowing that dawn will come. You can hear them if you listen closely, tiny crackles, like the heartbeat of peace itself. The forge no longer burns, but it breathes. It lives on in the quiet, the soundless whisper of warmth and rest. Outside, the forest shifts gently under moonlight. Silver mist coils through the grass. A night bird sings once softly like a good-night prayer. The air is cool now, yet the warmth from the forge lingers, wrapping the smithy like an invisible blanket. There is no need for words anymore. The world has reached the perfect balance between movement and stillness, between sound and silence, between waking and sleep. And within that balance you rest. You are no longer merely watching the forge. You are the forge. You are the sighing bellows, the hum of the embers, the still air that glows in the darkness. Each breath you take mirrors the universe exhaling. Each heartbeat echoes the slow rhythm of creation itself. Now, let the sounds fade in your imagination. The creak of wood, the whisper of coals, the distant murmur of wind through trees. One by one, they dissolve into a deeper quiet. There is only the sound of your breathing, the most ancient rhythm in the world. In and out, warm and calm, light and peace. And as your mind drifts, you see a soft light rising beyond the trees, the first touch of dawn. It paints the sky in faint gold, and the forge begins to glimmer once more. The blacksmith stirs but does not wake. Even the fire seems to smile, aware that it will soon be reborn in daylight. You sense something profound in this moment, that endings are only pauses, that even rest is part of creation, that the same hands which shape metal also shape silence. You breathe deeper, the warmth filling your lungs. It's not heat, it's peace, the kind of peace that hums quietly beneath all things. It tells you that everything is as it should be. The bellows sigh one final time in your imagination, a soft farewell to night. Their exhale becomes the wind through the trees, then fades into the hush of morning. And within that hush, you let go completely. Your body feels weightless, as if resting upon air. Your thoughts drift like sparks rising toward the stars. Each spark fades into light, and that light becomes calm. You are floating now between worlds, between breaths, and there, in that gentle in-between, you hear the forge whisper to you, not in words, but in warmth, a voice older than time, softer than sleep. You are safe. You are home. Rest and be remade in peace. The words wrap around you like silk. They linger as your consciousness dissolves into the stillness. Your breath slows, your heartbeat softens, your body releases the last trace of tension. The night has ended, but the calm remains. It hums beneath everything, beneath the morning, beneath the waking world. The whispering bellows never truly fall silent. They live on inside your breath, inside your dreams. And as sleep takes you gently into its arms, the final ember of the forge glows one last time, a tiny, perfect light before fading into the eternal quiet. Peace settles everywhere, the forest, the forge, the world. And within you, sleep now and dream in warmth. The blacksmith's bellows are still whispering, and they are whispering for you. And now, dear dreamer, the story fades like the last glow of embers beneath the forge. The night wraps around you, soft and kind. Every sound slows, every breath deepens. You are safe here, you are warm. You are home inside the hush of this moment. Let your thoughts drift like smoke into the stars. Let go of the day, of the noise of the turning world. And when dreams come, let them carry you softly into the quiet glow of rest. Thank you for joining me tonight. Until we meet again beneath another whispering sky, sleep well and dream in light. Good night, dreamer.